Feliz Navidad. That's all I got.
There he goes. He always bails with the wave. Chris Ibben, Travis Terrell. We're excited to be here. We've got our co-host for the day. He's sitting in for the whole show. His name, you know it, you love it, Nicholas Jeremiah Freed.
Woo!
Hello.
Good morning.
Thanks for wearing that Freed Family Retreat 25 Years of Fun t-shirt. Good for you.
25 years of fun.
How's the Freed family doing?
Oh, they're doing great. We had our Christmas last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why'd
You
you do
came
this?
here
Yeah.
after Christmas?
Yeah, we had Christmas last
Got
night.
that cookie hangover?
Well, my mom made a really probably too decadent like cheesecake thing that had like caramel and chocolate chips and stuff on it.
Did you hear that grunt? Our producer, who we haven't introduced yet, just kind of got it going a little bit.
Tell me more.
Wait, so you got into
Slower.
some cheesecake?
Yeah, so I got into some cheesecake. There were definitely cookies, a lot of like random like fun-sized Snickers and stuff laying around.
Now
that
we're
I-
talking, Travis.
Yeah, chocolate-covered cherries and stuff like that. It was great.
With the juice that you don't really know what's going on. It's like,
Yeah.
why did we need cherry juice in the chocolate-covered cherries? Like that
Exactly.
happens.
Can't we just cover?
You bite it and it's all over
It's
your
just
beard.
like those. I just imagine they just take the same things that are in like every bar stand, like those cherries, that red juice, and they're just like, yeah, this will work.
I think that's how it goes. Guys, it's We Are Live. Check out the Midcoast YouTube channel. Search it, subscribe it. You can see Nick in clarity like no other. Thanks to Tech Electronics and the wonderful cameras and
I'm
tech
not HD ready.
we're working on. Travis, we do have a producer. He's got silver hair.
Oh, yeah?
He could be mistaken for your great aunt.
Yeah, he is.
From behind. His name, Christopher Gardner. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Woo! Where are you broadcasting from today, Gardner?
Yeah. Yeah, what? Where
10
are
feet
you at?
from you.
Oh, he is. Oh, hey, Gardner.
You're looking at me.
Oh, okay, that's kind of weird.
So, Nick, we had a
We do it
comic.
every morning.
We had a comic be a guest on another show we produce here. And then Gardner produced that show, and he was like, wait, what are you doing here? And he was like, I live in St. Louis. He was like, I've tuned into We Are Live. I thought you were in like Brooklyn. And he was like, Travis was there for 3 months. He's like, yeah, but you got the little box. It looks like you're like Skyping in from somewhere.
That's funny.
So
That's
Chris
perfect.
Gardner
Should come
is
up with
in
a
St.
new,
Louis.
a new destination.
You should put it at, yeah.
Yeah, can't you do like those old like when everybody got photo booth on their Mac computers and they could put like I'm in
background,
Paris.
You should get a backdrop.
Oui, oui.
Hawaii today, huh, Mr.
Yeah.
Gardner?
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm all over the place. I could go to different locations for Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
like
But
Al
what
Roker.
are the astronauts?
Where are you today? Planet Nibiru. I'm with the Anunnaki.
What do the ancient astronaut theorists say, though?
They will tell me to do it. They would probably say yes.
Generally, they always say yes.
What are we going to do the day they
Ancient
say no on that show?
I think that's when the aliens finally come back.
Yeah.
Ancient astronaut
beat them.
theories. Wait, theories. Ancient astronaut
Theorists. Yes.
Theorists.
say maybe.
What?
That would throw me off. Excuse
Yeah.
me?
Where's your conviction?
Mm-hmm.
I will say I finally started the Bob Lazar. Is that his name? I
Yes.
finally started that
Oh, yeah.
documentary on the Netflix.
Ooh.
And I tell you what,
Old Bob's got some
a
things.
brother usually ain't one to jump on that kind of bandwagon, but I tell you what,
Yeah.
Smarter than
my
that.
boy Bob Lazar kind of bringing some heat. And then have a brother have to sit down. I had to pause a couple times during that documentary. I said, well, wait a minute. This motherfucker connecting dots. Let me sit my ass down before my Alexa turn on and the feds show up in my front yard.
I
Dog,
think-
it was pretty intense.
I
Very
think the
interesting
Bob
vibe.
Lazar stuff is so interesting because
It
I'm
is.
just like, this guy doesn't have time. He's such a dork. He's not here to lie to you. He's like,
Yeah.
well, that's what you do as an engineer when you work at Area 51. I don't even work at Area 51. I work at blah, blah, blah site. And why would you just do that? I'm like, you're so reasonable, Bob Lazar.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he can be a little eccentric about certain things. He is a dork about a lot of stuff. But Travis, it's real.
I tell you what, he has found a way to put it together and articulate it to the masses to where it is it is his viewpoint is
most
considered
dangerous.
reasonable.
That's the most dangerous type of person.
The guy
Yeah.
who doesn't
This guy
seek
seek-
fame,
Yeah,
he's the
exactly.
opposite of the president. He's like, I don't care if you believe me or not.
Yeah,
Here's what
that's,
I
I
did.
think that's the
Yeah.
thing that got me. It was like, I don't give a damn if y'all don't believe me or not.
Right.
I talked to the motherfuckers the other day. Y'all want to be like this? So be it. I FaceTime with the motherfuckers. Y'all can do you.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm just like, yeah, I am. Ooh, Gardner, I don't know. Maybe those ancient astronaut theories, maybe they are correct.
They would tell you they are. They would say yes.
So would flat earthers.
Well,
So
Man, we get into that. Man.
I have to deal with that some. I have a friend or two.
There's a flat Earth there.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Why?
that documentary was
There's a documentary.
bonkers. Oh yeah.
Does
oh,
it
yeah.
go, does it go talk to idiots that think there's a flat Earth, or is it
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
or is it on the?
No, it's not trying to prove there is
Okay,
a flat
good.
Earth.
There's just,
Okay.
just
It
people,
is-
just
like
people,
people-
just oh,
it's-
making fun of stupid people.
Yeah, it's
okay,
a
well, it's my kind of show.
documentary about flat Earth believers, and it follows like there are like two in particular that do like a podcast about it, and they go to like NASA. I guess in Houston, maybe Cape Canaveral. I don't know. And they're just like walking around NASA, like the campus, and they're like, I bet they'd never thought they'd see this bunch of flat earthers at NASA. And then they like go into this building that's unlocked somehow, and
Okay.
they walk in and they look around, and one of them goes, I bet they've never heard this at NASA. The Earth is flat, and they like laugh and high five, and then like leave. It's
What?
bonkers. It's like if you're a fan of things that make you cringe and want to just jump out of your skin,
Oh, I love those shows.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta
this
check
one.
that out.
All right. I get
Yeah.
in that mood every
Perfect
once
for the
in a while.
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
It's like, Travis, screenshot me all your Bumble conversations.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like, you're in the mood for that?
yeah,
You-
yeah. You
that
really
kinda
want to
thing.
be like just uncomfortable.
He's going to your Bumble conversation, checking a,
He's
what
like,
are they
"Wait,
talking
are
about?
Are they going to audit this? Like, what's happening?
Do
They're
they have
watching.
access to this? Did,
Yeah.
did I leave my phone unlocked?
Of course, they have access to it.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Aliens.
If everybody's not familiar, Nick Fried's been on the show 740 times. He's a Farmingtonian at heart, but he's been an actor in Chicago for the better part of a decade now, plus.
Yeah, it'll be 12 years in March.
12 years.
I know.
Hit them with your credit, son. Hit them with your credit. Because that's what I do sometimes. I come on the show. I
that
hit people with a
bothers
long
people.
list of credits
Long
of the
list of
things that
credits.
I have been. 'cause
Like, where would you
and
start?
I are both in the entertainment industry. We're a part of
That's
the
funny.
Hollywood machine.
Yeah.
You and I. And
Gardner,
so,
you want me to take this?
So
You want me
it
to-
is.
Where would you, like, on that long list, like, where would you start? Like, where exactly would you start on that credit list?
Oh man, it's been so long, Chris. I
Yeah.
don't know where to
Yeah,
start.
dissect any part you want.
But what most actors do, it's not about what you used to do. It's about your
Right.
most recent
Okay.
work.
All right.
You, of course, have been a part of a national commercial campaign. I, of course, part of Sesame Street. 50 years has been in people's lives.
there
and
not for
so,
50 years.
And so
Yeah.
yes. So how have you handled?
You're flipping it to Fried already.
How have you handled being part of this monster, this conglomerate you and I are part of?
I know, right? It's
Did you? Have you paid your SAG dues?
I have paid my SAG
There you
dues,
go.
and I can't wait to go home at the end of the week, and because I'm gonna have so many screeners in my mail. I can't
Oh,
wait.
nice.
I
You get to
can't
watch
wait.
everything. Sweet.
It's my first year of being member of SAG.
Was this because of the CBS show you were on
yeah,
this
because
year?
of Redline.
Redline.
Because of Redline. which
You
How's
want to
is
that
tell
show?
people? You want to tell people what you did in that show? Was it produced by Ava DuVernay?
It was produced by Ava.
Okay, and
Produced
so
by Ava.
and you, what was your role in this film?
I
In this short?
I believe I was credited
Uh-huh.
as alt-right thug.
Oh my!
Now,
Oh my!
what-
Gardner? So if you get a chance, if you can change that Chiron, Nick Fried, alt-right thug.
Okay.
Please don't. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Are you still getting fan mail for this role? Like, how did that go?
He's actually a federal judge now, thanks to
exactly.
President Trump.
I got a new job.
you have
I got to yell.
What'd you yell?
Oh
at
boy!
Noah Wiley's adoptive
You
daughter.
yelled
You
at
yelled at the librarian?
you yelled at
Yeah.
Carter from ER.
Yeah. I asked if he had tried to sew his daughter's mouth shut because earlier in the episode, I had made a threatening call because she was trying to raise hell because her dad, who was a black man, got killed by a white cop in Chicago.
Right.
And these racists wanted her to shut up.
Right.
And so she organizes a march, and me and my alt-right friends show up.
Oh boy.
And our minivans, literally minivans, pull up and like.
Was it a caravan?
Jump out. It was a caravan of minivans.
Maybe this is what he was talking about.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
the caravan.
Ancient alien. This is the caravan.
The
Yeah.
caravan.
And I had to jump out, and I got into her face, and then I called his. I think he is Indian. Called him a terrorist.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with you, terrorist, and then I get into a fight, and I get thrown into a car,
Nice.
and then I jump in my minivan and drive away,
Ah.
while everybody else gets arrested.
Did you do your own stunt?
I did do my own.
Yeah. Earn that, Nick Free.
Yeah.
Earn that money.
I had to at one point. So I was on set forever. My call I think was like 4:45 in the morning.
Right.
So I get there, do the whole wardrobe, like makeup, hair, everything, and then they were like, "Okay, you're gonna be in this van. We're gonna drive you over to set, get in place, blah 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 blah." Go over there. I'm on set by like 6:30, and then I didn't film until 4 o'clock in the
Are
afternoon.
you serious?
So I just was just sitting in a van. It was like cold and kind of rainy, so I was glad I was sitting in a van, but I was just like sitting in a van just all day long. And then they were like, "Okay, Nick, we need you to come out and meet with a stunt coordinator." I was like, "Yeah, you do. Okay, let's do this."
That's interesting.
And
This
it was
is
me and a
fascinating.
bunch of like stunt guys, and they like went through he's gonna do this and throw
Right.
you into this car and whatever, and then as soon as it's done, get out of the way. They're gonna do. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I had sat in the minivan that we were driving into scene in
Right.
with these like 3 other stunt guys who were like jobbers for WWE. Like when it would come into Chicago,
Oh, interesting.
they would go in and like get their asses kicked by all the stars, and they would get their pay and they would do stunts and movies and stuff. That was like their whole
Interesting.
job was just living in Chicago and being jobbers when the WWE or whatever wrestling
Right,
federation
right.
came through, and then doing stunts on movies.
What is going on the set while you're waiting? What are they filming? Other things? Are they okay?
So the whole scene was the march. So they got like the march coming down the street one way, and then like coming down another way, and then they changed angles and did it this way, and then they had to do like each person's little scene that happened beforehand, and so it was just a lot of like, okay, we're resetting. Okay, everybody walk again.
Wow.
Travis, you seem like you're learning a lot. I thought you would have already known all
Yeah,
that.
No,
you would
see,
think
this
as,
is-
as an expert
this is-
in
It's
the,
different in the puppet world.
Here's the thing. This is yeah. I'm glad Nick pointed that out. Thank you, Nick.
okay,
Thank you for
thank
alluding.
you.
This is
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
live action that
Yeah,
I'm used to.
Ernie's not
okay.
sitting in a minivan smoking cigarettes waiting for his.
Oh,
Well, generally-
Ernie's like, am I on now? Good.
All
Like
right.
generally, unless you're taking on a
Tired of this
producer
shit.
credit as a screenwriter, you're generally not on set unless you're there to touch up the script from time to time.
True.
Oh.
And because of my skill as a screenwriter, there isn't a need for a lot of touch up.
I did sit in the van for a while with just Noah Wiley and the woman who wrote that episode.
That is so dope.
she was a local Chicago like playwright, and
Oh, that's
did
so
a bunch. She was in
cool.
the theater scene, and then just like wrote a pilot. I think wrote this pilot and pitched it, and Ava saw it and picked it up. And
That's
whatever.
awesome.
But yeah, it was just like me and her and Noah Wiley just like telling us stories about doing like Shakespeare in the Park with Robert Sean Leonard and like all of the what's the like Dead Poet Society
Right.
kids. Like he was in that group of people.
Oh,
of guys and stuff.
wow.
So it was just like, yeah, I'm just hanging out with all of these guys. And then they all got Dead Poet Society, and it was so crazy. And like, we're hanging out with Robin Williams, and he's just like telling all of us these stories. And I was like,
That is
that sounds
awesome.
great.
Noah
That's
Wiley
fun.
has had that career where.
Did you mention Travis?
He did, but he hasn't done a lot of puppet stuff.
Okay,
So,
sorry.
yeah, no,
my
it
mistake.
is.
My
But
mistake.
Noah Wiley's had that career where he hasn't always been the quote unquote like outside of the librarian. Thank you, Gardner, for that reference. But with ER and the librarian, he's had like very strong career success. He's been on
Right.
TV for a long time, so I would
Yeah.
imagine he has a
Yeah, he
ton
was
of
like the
things to
star
say
of
about
ER
that.
forever.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just so fascinating to see where his career is
Then
now.
he
and
moved
just-
on to trying to save polar bears. I don't know about.
How long was that show on TNT?
The Librarian?
I feel like it got at least a few seasons. You know how I know? Because John Larroquette showed up.
Oh.
When John Larroquette shows up on your show, you know you didn't hit it.
Yeah, I was bummed because they didn't pick up Redline for another season, which I felt like
Was that part of CBS Access? Is there on the streaming
No,
platform? Was
it
that
was
part
on-
of the
they aired
CBS
it.
main network?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
main network because it was they did like a 8 to 10 episode like
Right.
mini series
Right.
of it to like see if it would
If
do
it would
well.
do well, and they're
But
gonna
they aired it like 2 episodes a night for like a week. Like it was like a
okay.
they aired it as like a mini series event
Right.
as opposed to like this is like a new series on CBS. So I don't know, it was weird, but I thought it was it was good.
Nice.
And it gave a lot of
Maybe,
Chicago actors a lot of work.
That's
so
good. That's
it would have
good.
been dope to stick around.
Maybe since John Larroquette made an appearance on The Librarian
Here we go.
with Noah Wiley,
Okay.
Noah Wiley can return the favor and appear on my reboot of the John Larroquette Show, which I want to once again set in St. Louis
Yeah.
like it was before.
Okay.
However, he won't be the manager of a bus terminal this time. He will manage the Loop Trolley and bring it to success.
Got it. In the final season, or it's going to be successful like the whole way through?
But see, because they can't.
Is this a sci-fi show?
Thank
Will
you.
they
Is
take
that
it?
an alternate
Will they
reality?
take it? Then yes. I mean, whatever it might be. It is an alternate reality. Oh, maybe that's the way to pitch it, an alternate reality with it.
Where the loop trolley works.
Yeah. And
And it goes like all over the city. You
Yes.
can take it everywhere.
I like that.
it becomes like the Hyperloop trolley.
yeah.
Ooh, there it is.
Because of-
Hyperloop trolley. There
Because
it
of
is.
John Larroquette.
Yeah.
Starring John Larroquette.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Trust me, if John
I've tweeted
Larroquette
at him.
died, I would not be here.
Tweeted at him.
I
That
would-
doesn't mean he's
Tweeted at him.
alive.
No, but he does a lot
he
of
respond?
stage work now, it seems.
Okay.
He
sure.
did not respond. I was asked. I can't even remember what it might have been asking him about a reboot of the John Larroquette Show.
If you could get the rights from him.
Yeah, or if, hey, let's do this. Let's team up. Let's
Uh-huh.
get together. I know an
John
international
Larroquette.
screenwriter.
I'm thinking of the right guy, right? Night Court John Larroquette?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, he was like on a trajectory there for a little while.
The John Larroquette Show ran for 4 seasons.
It did. Strong for us.
Almost 100
Actually, it was
episodes.
Actually, pretty damn fun.
And then he just disappeared.
And he kind of did. I love me some John Larroquette. Is there a show right now, though? Sorry,
Welcome to
I can
John
wax
Larroquette
nostalgia on
heads.
John Larroquette all day.
How do you not like John
How do you
Larroquette?
not like John Larroquette? I mean, that's the real question. But is there a show I'm very
Okay.
because I can go on and on with you, Freed. You and I, we can go down the Hollywood rabbit hole. You and I, we have been in the trenches.
we have.
We have
Right.
walked the
Rubbed
red
some
carpets.
elbows.
We have done our TMZs, and
What?
we did it. And but I'm curious, is there a show that you would love to be on right now? Like a show that you would like, oh, that's a great show. That's a delicious character. Because there's a show for you that I really want you to be on.
What's going on with you? That's a pretty good question.
Because Nick one is stupidly talented, and I want the world for Nick.
First
But
of all,
what-
Kind of you.
I recognized his talent when he was an indoor soccer goalie in 1997.
What was the team
When
name?
we were playing on the
red
rubber,
team.
the rubber floors of the Farmington Civic Center. Like not
Soccer's so fun. I
not
would
rubber-
score 3 goals in a game. Like that was it was interesting setup.
not
yeah.
rubber turf, just rubber, hard rubber,
Right, yeah.
hard rubber floors.
I want you in the TV show Secession. I want you in Secession that's on HBO.
Sure. I had a friend of mine was in it. She was like the housekeeper for the house they go to in season 2
Uh-huh.
as a family to like do whatever.
Oh wow.
She was the housekeeper in it, and I was like, that's pretty dope. You got to hang out with Brian Cox all day, and that's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna
that
be
show would be sweet.
yeah. I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna put Nick in season 2 of Righteous Gemstones.
I was literally just
yeah. I was gonna say like you would.
that was one of
Oh,
those shows that I
yes.
kind of just I have
You know
just
people
been
like
getting
that.
around to.
Yeah.
I have like just now started. I think I would have like maybe. Oh no! I just finished the first season like last week.
Okay.
And the whole time I was watching it, yeah, I was like, just kind of laughing to myself. I was like,
I know
I've met
these-
people like
I
that.
know these.
I know people. Like
I
that.
know
Yeah.
these bastards.
But I didn't want to like say it right off the bat because I know you guys are friends with
Tony.
With Tony,
Yeah.
who is
That- but-
so good on that show. So
the
good
dick
on
and
that
ball
show.
work he put in
Oh
this
my
season.
God.
My God.
That's why I think whether
Mike,
it's
was those your nuts? He's like, all mine, buddy.
Oh
I'm like,
my
oh.
God.
that's why I think they should whether it's the Golden Globes or the SAG, they have to expand some of these categories
Yeah,
because you gotta find a way to
I'm
get a
sorry,
guy like
like,
Tony
him-
Cavallero nominated for something.
He
That
owned the room.
That scene where with the three of the like outside of his house when he walks out in that tiny
Yes.
black T-shirt.
Yes.
And she just yells at him, and she just goes, "Nice mushroom tip." I lost it.
What is-
I lost it. Oh
That's sure
my
not
God,
as long
it's-
as you think it is, man.
Yeah. And then he
But
just just the like slight reach back to like check where his butt cheeks are.
Yes.
But that's my favorite thing too. It tells us to Travis's again. I'm having trouble with Travis's coherency this morning. I don't know why he's so zoned in, but it's for real though. You bring up a good point. To me, you would argue that comedy would be much more difficult
absolutely.
than a lot of dramatic situations
Yeah.
to entice people to take part in because it's so subjective on what's funny, what's this, what's
Yeah.
that. Do you agree as an actor? Like,
Oh,
would
yeah.
you say that it's much more difficult on the comedy side of things than it would be to be?
It
Well,
is.
Shakespeare, you've been knocking around for 100
It's
years.
way
What-
harder to get somebody to laugh than it is to get somebody to like cry,
Pay attention or-
like
yeah.
It's like, I mean, yeah, I have because you can see it like you see like the people that are like the dramatic actors that go on to like they host Saturday Night Live
Right.
and those episodes are always just like
Tough.
garbage.
Yeah, 'cause
And then you see like somebody like Paul Rudd or like John Hamm even who can do both of them.
Yeah.
chumming it up.
Just come on and just destroy
Right.
and be amazing in it. And it's very. I mean, I just closed a holiday play last Saturday night, and it was a Christmas adaptation of Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame,
As you
but
do.
using Christmas characters where
Is
Santa is
Fucking
Thanos.
phenomenal. I want the tape.
Yeah,
Wait,
Please.
Santa is Thanos?
Santa is, and he's trying to get all.
This
of
is an
the-
actual play you're in?
Yeah, they're trying to get.
Like
he's
people
trying
paid money
get
to come
all of
see
the-
this.
I would pay money to see this.
all the Noel gumdrops for the Infinity Mitten.
Okay.
Because he thinks there are too many Christmas icons out there, and he needs to thin the herd so it can be more about the true spirit of Christmas. So it's like there were
Him?
yeah.
Specifically.
Thank
So
you.
it's like him, and then his henchmen are the Grinch, Scrooge, and Donner, and then all of the Avengers are like Lucy, Linus, Schroeder. Oh man, I'm
Should have been
completely
Kevin
drawing a
McAllister.
blank.
I don't know how you guys left off Kevin
Yeah.
McAllister.
Hermie and Rudolph from the claymation Rudolph.
Of course.
Oh my God.
Coach Comet, like that was like the world that we lived in. You had all of the gumdrops were in like the Home Alone house, the Peanuts house, like all.
That's awesome.
The red one was in Rudolph's nose. That's what made it glow.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
this. This is
Yeah.
badass.
They're
And it
trying
was-
to take his nose?
Yeah. So Santa rips his nose off at one point at the end of the first one. Yeah, because it's the exact same plot of Endgame,
Yeah, Endgame and
Wars.
Infinity.
Just, and it's only
Does Santa say at the
it's only
like
half an hour.
the last part of Endgame, "I am inevitable"?
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Yeah, he wrestles around with Rudolph. They are wrestling, and the mittens get switched, and he thinks he has the right one. He says, "I am inevitable," and he snaps, and nothing happens. And Rudolph goes, "And I am Rudolph."
Yeah.
Then Rudolph can't snap because he has hooves.
Yes, that would be
no.
difficult.
So then Charlie Brown takes it.
clack.
and
Yeah,
says,
Charlie.
I am a blockhead. and snaps.
Yeah. All right.
And then Santa turns into a bunch of candy canes.
Oh, what a delightful play.
Yeah.
I
This is
thought,
great.
I thought
All
Lucy would
told
have
in an
pulled the
hour.
mitten from Charlie or something there for a second.
Ah.
Right as he tries to go for it. Yeah, that would have been good.
Jesus shows up. He's like, I like Hanukkah
Jesus
better.
is in it.
Jesus in it? Is
okay.
Jesus like Doctor Strange?
No, Linus is because he has
The
his
blanket.
is the.
I like Doctor
genius.
Strange.
I like Doctor Strange.
I'm a big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch is a
Best
great
actor going.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Who's the best actor going, Freed?
I do like Benedict
Obviously,
Cumberbatch.
removing myself from the
From
egomaniac
consideration,
Nick Freed.
Who's the actor that just like, oh, that motherfucker is zoned in?
That's a good question. I would say there are a couple. I think anything that Michael Shannon is in, Chicago Represent.
Oh my gosh, he's so good.
Works with
I
Jeff
saw-
Nichols all over.
I
the
saw
place,
him
man.
do a show. A friend of mine was in a show with him at his home theater in Chicago, Red Orchid. And their house is like 450 people,
Right.
60 people maybe, like a really tiny theater, black box stage kind of thing.
Right.
He's incredible. Seeing Michael Shannon act like 3 feet in front of you is so intimidating and just like overwhelming.
Yes.
And he's good. I just watched. I saw Knives Out over Thanksgiving.
Hi, yes.
How's
He's
that?
so good in that
Was it-
movie.
was it good?
It's such a fun.
That's a fun movie.
It is a fun movie.
That's
It's like it has like a Ocean's 11
Yes.
kind of fun where you're like, all these actors are just having such a good fucking
Yes.
time doing this movie. You can tell.
Yes.
I think he's really good. I think Lakeith Stanfield is really good.
He's not
I
fair.
think
He's also one of those guys that can just find, like, he can do the drama and the comedy
Yeah.
seamlessly. He's very good at that
he's
as well.
really good in Knives Out. Like he does
Yes.
both. But he also, I want to say, went to kind of prestigious acting school.
I want to say him and, I'm thinking of.
Not Juilliard, but like a pretty.
Yeah, he's
Southeast Missouri State.
he's a.
yeah.
he's
that nailed it, Mac.
Okay.
And that
Got
was
it,
the,
Mac.
that was the thing. Like, I thought a lot of those guys, especially on Atlanta, were
All of them so
relatively
good.
new, but they're like a lot of them have a lot of stage Broadway
Well,
background,
yeah,
which was
the guy who plays Paperboy
Paperboy, yeah.
was in the original cast of Book of Mormon,
And yes, and which
I didn't know until
I didn't
the
know
other
either.
day.
And I think he did an interview recently because he was talking about just how he got into the industry. And then I heard that. I was like, I would have never have guessed
Yeah,
that.
he
I
was
would have
the
never
leader,
guessed
like
that.
the general of the
Right.
army that they like try to save. It was that guy. Yeah, which is incredible.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I think it's kind of infuriating how many good actors there are currently like going
ton.
around. Like even like Adam Driver. You know, it used to be there were like the big like blockbuster actors weren't really that good of actors. You know, it's
Right.
like
They just had the look,
yeah,
the
you're
walk,
like
the
your
whole
Bruce
thing. Right.
Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like that kind of thing.
Right.
But now it's like.
Legitimate
Yeah,
actors.
the Avengers movies and like all these superhero movies and stuff, it's all like Shakespearean trained actors.
Yeah, you
Like it's all fucking Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart and shit.
Right.
And it's like, come on.
No, you're
Come
right.
on.
You
They have
take-
their doctorate in
Yeah,
acting.
and all the way down to like the smaller movies where all the actors in them are incredible too. And it's like, oh, okay, so I guess I just have to work 1,000 times harder.
Right. Like,
Cool.
Oh, that's
Thanks.
awesome.
Every
That's
movie I
perfect.
go to, I'm like, come on, this really unbelievable.
So what was Jesus in the play?
Jesus was the what was his character? Not
Nick Fury. Is that to be
no,
perfect?
God was Nick Fury.
Well, he brings them all together, of course.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. I want to say that he was Iron. No, not Iron Man, because Charlie Brown becomes Iron Man in the second one. Yeah, I don't remember. But he's there.
Okay.
He has Christianity's abs.
He's always there.
Yeah.
You know who else is always there?
Who was that, Chris? Oh boy.
Transition.
Let's see how this
Gateway
goes.
Powder Coat.
Yeah.
Because they supported us for years now. Be sure to check out their website, gatewaypowdercoat.com, for more information. Nick, I know you drove your car down and it needs
I
an
did.
upgrade on the wheels. Let's
Yeah.
get those powder coated.
Okay.
Smoker looking bad? Powder coat it. If you can paint it, you can powder coat it. Check out gatewaypowdercoat.com for more information. You brought up Adam Driver. We had a few comments going. People asking if anyone saw the Star Wars film over the weekend.
I
Anybody
have
seen
not-
that?
not.
I
I
don't
may
keep
check
up with
it out
Star
today.
Wars
I
like
may
that.
check it out.
so-
Yeah, I like all of my everybody that was in the show with me were all just like, "Oh my God, we're going, we're there, we got our tickets ready," and I was just like, "It's never really been a thing for me
Yeah,
necessarily."
I'm not mad if you love it. That's fine.
Yeah,
Go
I mean,
for it.
I saw the Last Jedi. Was that
Right.
the other Adam Driver one? Yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah, I
they're
like
always
them enough.
entertaining.
I think, there are other things I would prefer, but I have gone to the movies
Right.
to watch them because I do like the spectacle behind it, and I
Yeah.
do think it is
All
fun
the
action.
sword fights and stuff. are
Right.
dope.
I feel terrible though for the people who are the creators and actors and performers
Oh
for
my
that
God.
too, because there's no winning for them. Like I don't see a situation for those.
People are dogging this.
But
The
it's-
backlash has already started. Like
It's just right. The movie just came out like 72 hours ago, and there's a quote unquote backlash, and I'm just like, look, I'm sure it's not, as our good friend Scorsese would say, cinema.
Right.
Well, however, I'm sure it's still entertaining enough for
Right.
you not to completely hate it.
Yeah, everybody's just like, it's so safe, and I'm like, what? What?
What are you talking
Okay,
about?
what do
Yeah.
you mean?
But and then that's
it's a
and,
Disney movie. Of course, it's safe. Like,
well,
what do
not
you
only
expect
that, I
it to
don't
be?
know, and I think J.J. Abrams talked about it a bit recently. I think he actually yesterday he said he said we knew going into making the film that there wasn't going to be a right decision that everyone loved.
Right.
And I would imagine even as an outstanding creator as J.J. Abrams, that still has to be a little bit depressing because you're already before you even put pen to paper, you're behind the 8 ball.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
has to feel like shit if you're an actor, if
Yeah.
you're a director.
I don't envy that
at all because you're like, there's nothing I can put on this paper for the next 5 acts that will satisfy millions of people.
Right. And the thing is with it too, it's not quite well. It's not quite as bad, but like the Marvel, all the like Marvel
Right.
people, how like the backlash to some of those comic.
There
movies
are a
have been.
few of those, yes,
But
absolutely.
like with Star Wars,
It's-
this is something that is like 2 full generations of people have grown up on this movie
Yes.
and this like
Yes.
ethos and storyline,
Mm-hmm.
and this is supposed to be the final movie in all of that.
Oh, is it? Is that what?
I
That's
mean, they're not
it's
done
supposed
making
to be.
Star Wars
Okay.
films, but
I
this
was
is
like,
the
well,
last of
it's
this
the-
saga.
Yeah,
it,
of
got
the
it.
like
Yeah.
1 to 9.
9, right.
This is the last. Yeah, but it's like, really, you're like, give them some, like, cut them some slack.
And that's what
you know?
and I feel terrible because I'm like, these are phenomenal actors. The
Yeah.
special effects are off the chain. Trust me.
Yeah, you'll really never see special effects as good as you will
Right.
in like a Star Wars.
You
movie.
won't.
You have like the full force of Lucasfilms, and their like whatever their CGI
Right.
world is.
Right.
It's like that they like are the ones who created all of the technology
Right, that
other
we see
movies
in our
use.
films, right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like at least go and like enjoy that aspect of it.
And they definitely could have. I mean, you talk about special effects. There's one film that also came out this weekend that was just getting killed in the box office, and that's Cats.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen this. Universal sent, I guess, patched up copies.
Yes.
So the CGI, we talked about this just briefly last week, but the CGI was so terrible in the trailer, it was comical, and I guess it's obviously wasn't improved with the release of the film. So Universal announced yesterday that they were sending patched up versions with better CGI to all the theaters after everyone had basically burned the film for how terrible it looked.
See, but
Yeah.
that makes me not want to go see it more.
Exactly.
And the worst one would make me want to go see it.
Exactly.
more.
I was like, man, if it's bad, leave it up there, dog. Let's go. Hey,
Let's
leave
go
it up
watch
in this
it
bad glory,
and
dog.
make fun of it and have
Like,
fun.
Turn it into The Room.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, they're
I mean,
so,
you're not going to be able to flip it completely around at this point.
Yeah,
so why
they're
not
so
just embrace
afraid-
it then?
They're so afraid of like losing face on something like that they don't even think about it being a Room situation where like there is no reason in the world that Tommy Wiseau should be like so much of a household name as he is. You
Right.
know, it always just is so crazy to me.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like I feel bad for him in a way.
Right.
It's like for a long time, people weren't sure if he was like in on the joke, like the reason everybody, it's like that
Yeah,
kind of like
right.
weirdness. But it's like a big, huge like movie studio like this, I think needs that kind of like character building almost to
Right. especially in this
maybe
day and
become-
age, like
they could-
especially in this age of social media, I feel
Yeah,
like you
it's
kind of
like-
have to step into it. Like
really
once you, because first of all, everybody at Universal saw their first cut.
Yeah.
Everybody knew
Yeah.
what the fuck they were putting. So it isn't a surprise to anybody. And the fact they were able to get a patch up so quickly lets me know the motherfuckers were still stitching this movie together
Yeah.
literally the day of release.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so-
were they just hoping they would kind of like strike gold and theater people would be like make it into some weird class?
Yeah,
think
but
so.
there is no one. Talk about fan bases that you can't ever
Oh,
please.
that's a good
You
point.
can't ever please a musical theater audience.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
It like when that Les Mis movie came out, people were pissed off about it. Like
Beating it down.
all of those like musicals turned into movies. Everybody's just like, well, it could have been better. Why didn't they just get the Broadway stars to do it? And it was just like, oh, well, I mean, fair point. It
Yeah,
probably
sure,
would have been better,
sure,
but
it's
no
thing called selling a movie,
Yeah,
and you have to
exactly.
put posters out.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. No, that is very fascinating. Yeah, that's interesting.
Human cat hybrids. Who'd have thought?
I can't. Yeah, and they got so many people.
And
to
I
be in it.
got
That's my
So
thing. I'm
so
like
many people.
the production
Dame
company.
Judi Dench
You got Judi Dench,
and Idris Elba are in it.
and then somehow they was like, "Yo,
Oh,
Taylor
well, I
Swift, in the
never
middle of your
had
national
my
world
rose
tour, do you
Yeah.
have time
so
for?"
clever as magical Mr. Mistopheles.
You like cats though.
Oh, that's all right.
Have you ever been in Cats, Gardner?
What is this? Is this a trick question?
No, I'm just
Oh.
asking.
In the show, Cats.
You have a good Mr. Mistopheles look.
You
Currently.
do. Congratulations.
You wouldn't even have to have that much costuming.
I wonder if I could audition.
You would get the full body leotard though.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Cats was the
But I have
first.
to,
Yeah, 100% you would have to.
Gardner
do
would
that.
bring his own like scent pack, so he could be walking around like, spraying.
He's
all
like,
over
don't
the
worry,
place."
I have my own fur bracelets.
Uh-huh.
Do they
Why
do,
does it smell like
um,
ammonia in here?
Oh, we're gonna have to throw this couch out.
I remember when my cat did that in my toy box when I was
Oh.
younger.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Not
spraying.
playing with those toys
oh,
anymore.
God.
Those
damn
toys
it.
are his.
Damn it, Threewood. Damn it, Threewood. You ruined those toys. But he only had 3 legs, so
Okay.
I'll give him a pass.
All right.
In the show Cats, do they do like hissing in that or no?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, I mean, when Idris Elba was on Colbert asked him about it, and Idris Elba said they had to go to like a multi-day like cat workshop to
What?
learn how to like move like cats.
Oh.
Is that? And I guess you know what? When those guys are getting paid what they're getting paid, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's whatever.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I still would imagine they're just like, "Are you fucking
Well,
serious
and
right now?"
then like a few weeks later, he had Ian McKellen on, and he asked Ian McKellen about it, and Ian McKellen's response was, "I guess I'm a bad actor. No, I didn't go to that."
Yeah, I'm about to say. I guess like I feel like wherever you are in the food chain, after a while, you're just like, "I mean, McKellen, I won't be doing that."
Right.
Could
yeah.
I be my the cat Ripley? You know Ripley, who I've talked about on the show before.
Ripley, who has a condition.
Has a neurological condition. Wobbly
You want to
cat
infuse
syndrome.
your own cat into the
Hey,
film.
you know what?
Well,
you got to just
I'm-
make the character your own.
I'm asked to act like a cat, and this cat and
yeah,
has a
you gotta-
neurological condition
Yeah.
where she kind of wobbles and she
Uh-huh.
can't run straight and she falls down. So,
Okay.
I mean, if you want to be real with it, that happens to cats. It happens when.
They might not be into the falling down part, but like the rest of it, you can definitely do.
Okay.
You know, it's like you got to make the character your own. In a reboot like this,
Nick
You can't
auditioned
go
to be
off
a
of-
white supremacist cat, and they weren't. They
Yeah,
weren't into
they
it.
were-
Hi, I'm here
wanna
for
have
the
it.
alt-right cat.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
I
sir.
think-
I was just trying to
I-
corral all the black cats out of the theater. Like, is that cool?
yeah,
or-
is that what I'm supposed to be doing, or yeah,
Oh.
just do it.
Who is-
Add it in.
I
Who
think
has
the movie
best cat hiss you think of all of us?
of all the in the cast
No,
of the
us.
cat of us.
all of us?
Cat hiss?
Or like, yeah, an angry
Oh, it's probably
cat.
you. I don't.
Angry
it's
cat.
probably
Well, you're
you.
asking.
You win,
you're-
Gartner.
You're the guy.
You win.
You're the guy. You're the guy to be like, man, do you guys have abs? I'd hate if we all took our shirts off. Like, yeah, like, and then you're like jacked. Like, yeah, that's what you're doing right now. Do we want to try it real
All right, I'm
quick?
gonna try it.
Okay,
Okay,
wait.
go
Do you?
ahead.
Oh, you're gonna lead off. Okay. Wow.
Wow.
That's good.
It's a shitty cat.
Nick, what do you got? Nick, let's hear it.
Acting.
Come on. You are an actor.
I went to 4 years of college, 12 years of Chicago.
Give us some of that acting. Ooh.
I like the build.
That's like where you're moving towards it. It's like everything's gonna be fine.
The worst part of a cat is when they pause for a
All of
moment
it?
when they're about to get involved in something, because then you know, oh, it's about to happen.
Yeah,
Because
they
there's
don't
this
have control
awkward
over it.
pause of like they might be moving towards each other, and then there's a stop, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that's when it's about to pop
That's
off.
Travis. You're a coward. That's where you would run away.
Generally,
Yeah.
how I would do it.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Like, oh, somebody's
Yeah.
gonna
All
die.
right, Chris,
Let's
Okay,
go.
we've been looking at each other too long. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Chris,
you
what's
wanna
it? Let's hear
try
yours,
this?
Chris. Ooh.
Kind of sensual.
That's pretty good.
That's from like a distance,
Yeah.
horse perspective.
It's kind of walking along the sill
Uh-huh.
with the other one's looking down. It's looking down.
There's something outside.
There's something. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a bird.
The bird is too close to that window.
All right, Travis.
Oh, okay. Give me that pussy.
Whoa! Whoa! Wait a damn minute!
That's not how.
No!
how cats.
No!
Generally how
Oh,
cats.
oh God!
Cats
What
don't.
is this cat?
That's not how cats talk.
Oh
I
man!
just assumed, is that not how cats? They don't.
Cosby cat.
I'm
Take
not
it easy.
I am.
Nailed
Oh, you think
it.
you're a
Oh,
cool cat,
yeah.
huh?
Oh, okay.
Nailed
You're a
it.
cat with a K.
That's a-
Oh, okay. Well,
Acting.
Amanda Waitis, deputy editor for St. Louis Magazine, will be in the second hour.
Can we play this game? I really want to play this game because I know Gardner's been working on it. Do we have time, Gardner, to play the game?
We can play the game.
Okay, because I know we have a busy next hour, and I really want to get this game in because I don't want to have to wait to Friday. Because on Friday we want to do our
Picks of the decade.
picks of the decade.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So we're going down memory lane on this Friday, but I
Before-
want to get to this
yeah.
game because it's a game that we inadvertently played in the office last week. Of course, were the votes for the impeachment hearing.
Yeah.
And so everybody got a chance to get on the floor and debate and say their speech.
Uh-huh.
And as we were watching, the Chiron was having a tough time keeping up. We had no clue who any of these people were who were speaking. Like, we didn't know what party they were representing. So we were just laughing. We were like, all right, let's guess who is this person and if they're a Republican or a Democrat just based on looks alone.
Okay.
And so we did all right. We did. It was interesting how we came up with the criteria of what we thought. Oh, yeah, definitely Republican. Or,
Right.
oh, yeah, definitely a Democrat. Because there were some Democrats I was like, yeah, he's definitely from the South. He's a Southern Republican. And you're like,
Right.
he is a Jewish Democrat from New York. You're like, rats, I'm terrible at this. So we're going to play a game, Nick, that's called Democrat or Republican.
There's no open. We were just
Okay,
gonna
thought
show
we had a-
pictures.
Okay.
We're gonna,
gotcha.
test your stereotyping skills. So we'll see,
All
Travis.
right.
I see you as a bit of a prejudiced stereotyper.
I am.
So I think you might perform well at this. So, all right, I'm going to ask you to identify whether or not you believe they're a Republican or Democrat, and also which state,
Which state?
which state they
Okay.
were from.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little easy on you to begin with.
All right.
Here's your
okay.
first one. What do you think of this guy?
I'm going to go Democrat from it's got to be a Midwestern state. I'm going to go to He's probably from Missouri. Is he Missouri Democrat?
Okay, Missouri Democrat. Nick?
I know who he is.
Okay.
So
Chris?
Illinois Democrat?
All right. Illinois Democrat. Travis, you got the Missouri part right.
Okay.
You definitely got the Missouri part right. However, he is a Republican.
Really?
from the Springfield and Joplin congressional.
Oh.
He, I guess, used to be an auctioneer as well.
What's
Yes.
his name?
Billy Long.
Oh,
He just,
Black
like-
Sheep's all over that one.
Yeah,
Black
Billy
Sheep
Long.
said Billy from Springfield.
Billy
Yeah.
from Spring. He just
Yeah.
knew it. Oh, it's Billy.
Yeah.
He actually had money made $45 bills
Yeah, that's what I saw
with
the other day.
President Trump's face on them, and he had them in his pocket sitting at
I don't think
the
that's how
And
currency
he, and he
works.
would, and he would sign,
Sir, we can't accept
and he
it.
would sign them.
Yeah.
He would sign them and give them to people.
Yeah, he said he signed one and gave it to Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
And then he loved it. Yeah. The only reason I know him is because somebody on Twitter the other day posted the story about that, and
Yeah.
then somebody commented with his picture next to one of the politicians from the Radiohead Paranoid Android video, like looked exactly the
Exactly like-
same. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have
That
to
was
see
like-
that.
Oh,
I'll have to look at that
no.
now.
Yeah.
He does,
Oh,
but
The
I'm
guy
not-
that like looks over the edge
yeah.
of the bridge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put that photo up one more time because he does look like human grimace.
Yeah. Yeah. he
If we
does.
did a live action
If he
version of a
would've-
McDonald's
He's like
commercial,
a
he would be
melting
human
candle.
grimace. Yeah.
Imagine that as an auctioneer.
I can't.
You got the auctioneer at the throat.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right, you ready for your next one?
All right.
All right. Democrat or Republican? And I'm going to have to hop off the screen here for a moment.
Okay.
All right, so Democrat or Republican?
Oh, this is tough.
Yeah.
He's in an office that would make you think he's very progressive. But I feel like with the tie looking at the way it does, he's Republican. I'm going Republican from Rhode Island.
Ooh.
Okay.
Good guess. I'm gonna say that he is a Republican from South Carolina.
That's a good guess.
I'm going to go Democrat, Vermont.
Well,
All right.
who we got?
Republican from Ohio,
Ohio.
Troy Balderson.
What's up, Troy?
Balderson.
Troy Balderson.
Man, Troy gave me this haircut. It's badass. Name that movie.
That was Three Kings.
It's always three.
Oh, it's always it's always Three Kings. That's basically the answer. It's always Three Kings.
Man, I wasn't doing shit. I was hanging outside the trailer, man. Sorry, go ahead.
That was a super sarcasm. If you look back on it now.
All right. You ready
Carly
for-
in the comments says she would not trust the mop hair.
Never.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good point.
That's why I thought some might go Democrat with him just because of the mop top. And being from Ohio, he kind of had that Sherrod Brown kind of feel to him.
Sure.
Maybe it's an Ohio thing.
He had
Yeah,
a
was it-
kind
yeah,
of
they-
sheen like the politician from Watchmen, so I didn't trust him,
Okay. Let's move on to another one.
which was one of the best shows that was on TV this year.
I need to
BTW.
catch up on it. Yeah, my dad's in on it. I need to watch
So
it.
good.
Oh,
Look
okay.
at that. His head is perfectly square.
All right.
Democrat or Republican?
Is it? Are you pulling an okey doke on us, and he just happens to have a reddish tie on?
He's definitely.
It's all cognitive bias.
I'm gonna
It is
go.
He's
definitely-
conducting an experiment.
You're right. I think I'm doing Democrat. Democrat from Texas.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
That's yeah. I would say the same.
All right. I'm going Republican, Kentucky.
That's a good
Okay.
one, Chris. That's a good one, Chris.
He is. Whoops.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
a donkey.
Hold on.
Donkey.
I screwed
Why's
that
the
one
butt got to
up.
be right by your head?
I know,
There
that
you
was on my
go.
head.
Big surprise.
Democrat, Maryland, Dutch Ruppersberger.
Excuse me?
What?
They're making these guys up.
Yeah, this is a.
Here's the thing.
Dutch Ruckenberger?
Ruppersberger.
Ruppersberger.
Yeah.
How
Dutch Ruppersberger.
has that guy
Mm-hmm.
one made it that long in life with that name and
Yeah.
hasn't changed it, and two
Fair question.
is a politician, a senator?
How do you win election with that name?
How do you win an election
Man,
with
if your
that
name is Dutch, though, you kind of a motherfucker that gets shit done. You sound like if your name is
guess
going
you-
to be Dutch, throughout life, you have to be able to provide
Overcome.
favors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
With the name Dutch. So I'm assuming that's why he's liked in this, because people are like, oh, Dutch, man, he gonna get it done. The motherfucker named Dutch.
Yeah, he has to counteract
Yes,
his name.
he's got.
That's why he's a
You
politician.
can't be Dutch and be like salesman at Macy's.
All right, I got some more here.
All right. Let's go.
There you go. Democrat or Republican?
Nah, he definitely said the N-word a few times. That's a Republican. No doubt about it. He a Republican.
No
He a
chance.
Republican from it's got to be a southern state. So I am going Louisiana.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Democrat from Vermont.
Democrat.
New Hampshire.
Democrat, New York.
Democrat. North Carolina.
Oh,
He
yeah.
loves
I had
Petey
the racist
Pablo.
state right.
Yeah.
I had the state right. I just had the party
Yeah.
wrong.
I thought you said Louisiana.
No, I just meant it was going to be a southern racist state.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, you ready?
Okay.
There's another one. Oh, whoops. Let me get out of the way.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. The arms crossed
I think
make
this
me
is-
believe she's a Democrat.
I think this is simple. She's a Republican from Florida.
Shit, Chris may be right on that. That was a good ass guess.
You say anything confidently, people are
Yeah.
like, well, he's kind of
I don't know.
I'm
that's a
going
good point.
Democrat from Iowa.
I'll
Okay.
say Republican from Kansas.
Okay. Democrat, Texas.
Okay.
Oh.
Garcia.
Oh,
Okay.
Sylvia
The red
with
hair, I
okey
would
doke.
never guess the Garcia part of
Neither.
that.
Well played.
Huh.
Well
Okey
played.
doke.
That is a good okey
All
doke.
right, I got another one for you here. There you go. Democrat or Republican?
I feel like I've seen her on. No. She's a Democrat. I think she was on the committee, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm going to Democrat from Michigan.
Okay.
That's a good guess. Democrat from New York.
All right, you can stop there. Democrat, New York.
Nice.
Marilyn
Nailed it.
Maloney.
Nailed it.
Okay, I got another one here.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Now, this one is interesting to me. I'll explain a little afterwards.
I'm going Republican. And I bet you he just recently won.
I'm just really happy to be here.
Yeah, he just looks like,
That's what he's saying in that photo.
looks like Nick Freed will be playing him in a movie soon.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm going to go Republican.
Really excited to be
I'm going to go Republican. He seems like a West Coast guy. He's going to be one of those few Republicans from, let me go Nevada.
Okay.
He's an independent from Utah.
Chris is like one
But, like,
independent in the entire.
Also, probably a pretty good guess. I think Utah, independent. Yeah. Listen, I think we all should just really work together in the spirit of cooperation.
Okay.
I'm just happy to be here.
Justice.
He's a Republican
Okay, I got that one right.
from Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Republican from Ohio. His name, Anthony Gonzalez. I had drafted him
Whoa!
a number of times.
The tight end played for the Colts.
The wide receiver. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Wait, that's actually him?
That's Anthony Gonzalez. He's a Republican for Ohio now.
Shut up!
I had no idea.
Neither did I.
I was looking at him like that is
So he had to have been recently. He must have won the election like the last cycle,
Must have
I guess, 2018. I
the
guess,
Ohio State alum.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Shut
like,
up.
Okay.
It's like if you go to Ohio State and you run for office.
Well, that's immediately 80,000 votes.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
easily.
yeah,
And you
at
win the
least.
important areas of Ohio.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you
Oh.
so Reggie Germany can probably be the next senator out
Yeah.
of
I
Ohio
was
State.
thinking that's what makes Steve
Oh, he was-
Belisari checking things out now.
But to
yeah.
say Orlando Pace could go back to Ohio and maybe become governor.
Tom thinks he looks like he diddled a male intern?
Ah.
You dog. You.
What about this one
All
here?
right. See, now I feel like this
Democrat,
is-
Massachusetts.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I feel like this is an okie doke. This is a Democrat. And he looks, he probably, Democrat from California, I bet.
Okay, Nick.
I would say he's a Republican from Maine.
Okay. He's a Republican.
Nailed it.
Republican
From where?
from North Carolina.
Also makes
That
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That whole outfit makes sense now.
Yeah, I could see that guy on a plantation for sure.
No doubt
Okay.
about it.
Now, what about this one here?
It's a bed and breakfast, guys. Relax.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, he's got
He's
the
got
bicycle,
big
so he's,
bicycles.
so he's definitely a
in big
Democrat.
bicycles back pocket.
From like Washington or Oregon.
It's Washington State Democrat.
Yeah, he's a Democrat Republican.
He's a Democrat
mean,
from
Oregon?
Oregon.
Ah!
The bike said
call,
West Coast.
Nick
He
Fried.
said Democrat West Coast. Only a Democrat from the West Coast would wear a bike lapel and a bow
Right,
tie.
and a bow tie.
That's
Pink
just
bow tie at that.
Exactly.
All right, what about this one?
Now I believe this person was a Democrat, now a Republican.
Yeah.
He actually just switched parties, I believe, and I forget
Yeah.
the state where he's from.
This is Jeff Vandrew, a Republican now
Yeah.
from New Jersey, a Democrat several weeks ago.
He looks
Literally.
like a Beavis and Butthead character. Look
Yeah.
how tall his head is.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that works out in a state like New Jersey.
You boys
He must have really got elected from a fairly moderate bit. I didn't know parts of
Stay
New
on my
Jersey were
shit.
moderate, but I guess so, huh?
What's the one guy's name from
boys, Stan.
Terminator?
Michael Bean.
Robert Patrick.
Oh, the
Robert
the
Patrick.
T1000.
He kind
guys.
of reminds me a little
Like
bit
an
of
older
Robert
version of
Patrick.
that?
yeah, if his top of his head got stretched out.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
You boys stay out of my shed.
They're out there whacking it in my tool shed. The character was the precursor to Hank Hill, for
It was.
sure.
It
Oh,
was, no doubt.
so good.
All right, that'll do it.
That'll do
Whacking
it
it
for
in my
those.
shed.
Real quick shout out to St. Louis Counseling Services. They provide counseling in the St. Louis area for
Go see a
you
counselor.
and yours. That's right, stlouiscounseling.org. Check
Good
out
for
the
you.
podcast while you're there. Online, very easy to find. Big shout out to Tom Duff and the team over at St. Louis Counseling Services. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get another mic set up. Nick, you hanging out? You sticking
Yeah,
around?
let's
All
do
right,
stuff.
let's have some fun. Amanda Woitis from St. Louis Magazine is going to jump in with us and talk about what's happening around the fair city that you're in of St. Louis, Missouri. Nick.
Can't wait.
Quick break for Gardner to get a menthol. We'll be right back.
Look at that hat.
going no headphones.
Oh, look at
Travis
us.
We're okie doking our very, very nice guest that's come in. She's like,
What are you idiots doing?
it's
You
Chris Denman,
morons.
Travis Terrell, Nick Freed, the actor. He's here. He's generally on stage, but today he's being seen by thousands in the St. Louis
Literally
area.
dozens of them.
There's at least my mom and 3 of her friends watching the show.
That's fine, as long as your mom is watching.
That's
I'm
true.
good.
Do it for Joni. And Chris Gardner's here, but Amanda Woitis from St. Louis Magazine, deputy editor. You ever been a deputy, Travis?
I used to be.
Did you? Like Shaq is a deputy,
I was one, down in Jefferson City. I used to uphold the law.
Oh, did you?
I did.
What was your favorite thing you busted somebody on?
A meth.
Okay.
It was at
Anything
kindergarten.
against a white.
Kindergarten.
I was like, hey, Jeff City, you're really into this, aren't you? So that
You're
was-
leaning hard
Right,
into it.
yeah, uh-huh.
Amanda has graciously decided to stop by St. Louis Magazine. You can check them out, obviously, the publication online. They put on events. They do all kinds of great stuff showing local St. Louis interesting, I guess, events and everything else that's happening. Nick, you were just saying that you have a little connection to St. Louis Magazine.
Yeah.
What was going on with that?
Well, a friend. Of,
Why do you have to shame us and wear your headphones, too? That's kind of weird.
Because it feels nice.
Okay, got it. That's all I needed. Just needed a
Feels
reason.
like I'm in a tiny room. And, because I want to.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, a friend of my girlfriend. She runs a like hotel in Herman. Called the Vinchester Inn. And she just
Send an invoice,
They just
please.
opened they just opened a new property called the Schiller House there. That's like a house that they rent on Airbnb and whatever else. It's like
Right.
a full house that they renovated and everything. And they're doing a piece apparently I just found out yesterday in St. Louis Magazine about it.
That's exciting, and I see it too with our stuff. They came and recently covered a couple comedy shows that Yale, our buddy, was involved with, and that's going to be out later this month, which we'll have you back on to talk about that.
Yeah.
It is funny though, St. Louis being a big, small city, do you get that a lot where people kind of come up to you? And obviously there's different departments within the magazine and coverage and everything. Do people just walk up and they're just kind of like, well, you did this? You should just, I'm guessing you should just develop a thing where you just say, yes, thank you. We
always-
loved covering that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's always a little bit of a hesitation where if I don't know what the person's talking about, I'm like, okay, I have to decide, am I lying and like pretending I know what's happening, or am
that's
I?
important to
Because
do.
someone could ask a follow-up
Yep,
question.
there usually is a follow-up.
and
Right.
Yeah.
And how did the zebra work its way in?
I'm like, oh my gosh, well, it was just truly magical. I loved witnessing.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. All right.
good.
Travis, they did a piece on your donut shop you just opened. Let's see if she can work her way through it. All right. Start.
Like, oh my God, like, you came by the donut shop and you covered it. Like, what did you think?
I love the mix of like high and low you have going.
Did your homework. Thanks.
Yeah. I feel like that's a situation where you can ask them like, oh yeah, what neighborhood was that in again? And then like once you know what neighborhood it is, then you can at least kind of BS your
Yes,
way
yes,
through
absolutely.
like what it probably looks like.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys charge like $8 for the pink ones, right?
Right?
Like
That's you
the
guys,
thing.
right?
Yeah. okay.
Oh, okay.
This has never led me astray. No one's ever caught me.
Yeah.
Because if it's something that someone's interested in and you did something at least decent for, you don't work for. And I say this with love. We have friends over there, and you're very familiar with them. Imagine working for the Riverfront Times and doing that, because then you're gonna be like, if somebody's like, you talked about my business, and you're like, was it funny or good or mean? Like, whereas like St. Louis Magazine, like where it's gonna be more like highlighting. And I don't know if this is your MO, but it's gonna be more of. Hey, this is cool, maybe you should check it out. Like, it's not going to be something snarky necessarily.
And because print is such like a precious resource nowadays,
Yeah.
like magazines are only getting smaller. Do we really want to spend that space tearing something apart?
right.
You
Right.
know, it's not really our brand. If something's not the greatest, we're probably not going to waste the time and space.
Right.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and we're certainly not going to recommend that someone go do it.
That's an interesting part of 2019. Like, is that you kind of just said it, but do you make sure to like really pay attention to what you all are covering? I mean, is it gonna turn into something that you're maybe covering stuff? Do you find yourself ever looking into things that you're like, well, hopefully this gets some sales out of the way? Like, is now more than ever a time that you pay attention to what you're covering?
Oh, for sure. We have to pay super careful attention. You never want to recommend that someone go and do something and then it's kind of a flop.
They
So
let it go.
we
Right.
make educated guesses, you know, who's involved with, say it's a production at the Rep. You know, you can kind of like glean a lot just from the summary of something. And you know, St. Louis is really lucky. I covered news and culture.
Yeah. So,
So that's kind of my beat. We're really fortunate that there are so many awesome arts institutions. So,
Absolutely.
you know, if we kind of take a stab at something, it's probably worth someone going out and seeing a symphony show or what have you.
See, now I'm curious because I know St. Louis and that word, sometimes we're satisfied but never enough. So I would imagine you often get emails and or letters from people who have maybe taken up some of your recommendations for certain things throughout St. Louis and it did not turn out how they thought it was going to. What are those letters like? What do they sound like? And does it happen often? Am I projecting here? Am I just over assuming that St. Louisans will find something to write an email about, or
I have a thought too. After, I
Okay.
want to let you go ahead. Yeah,
you know,
I'm
kind
curious.
of shielded from from sort of the like the phone calls that we get. I don't get forwarded those too
Okay.
often. They kind of go to the editor in chief, and he very graciously takes that on.
That's
so
good.
that we don't
That's
have-
awesome,
But
yeah.
I do get the crazy tweets.
Yeah, that was like when I wrote for Consequence of Sound
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
We would get the way that our website was set up. Once we were tagged as the author for a post, all of the comments that we would get an email notification about it. And there were some of the like, there are some articles that I still get comments from that I wrote like 6 years ago. There are some like
Really?
album reviews and stuff that people are just like, "What an idiot! I can't believe this guy ever thought this." And I was like, "That was 7 years ago. What are you doing?"
Did anybody have anything negative to say about your Jim Varney piece that you wrote for Consequence of Sound?
No,
Good.
nothing
He was a
negative.
treasure.
Nothing negative about Ernest.
Ernest. That's
It was probably all of my like Cottonmouth Kings album reviews and stuff.
It's
When I
never
was-
the thing that you think people are going to latch onto.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
can cover politics all day long. People are like, okay, great. I'm like, hey, hire me to stand in line at Schnucks for you during the snowstorm, and people are like,
yeah, exactly.
I have opinions. So fun. The internet is so
It
fun.
is.
yes, it
It
is.
is
That's
a
what I
very
think of when I think of the internet.
Comfortable
Fun.
place.
It's
Very
weird
reassuring.
too. Like even doing radio where you are exposed to, you have a decent sized listenership or whatever, you go on TV or whatever. When people start like if we've had a few articles in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch get us mentioned in it, and then you start reading the comments and you're like, people truly treat you like I don't know if it's a commodity or what, but it's like they don't think at all, and they just start talking, and you can get caught up real quick taking things personal. You just have to dissociate from it, like completely, right? Like,
Yeah.
Travis, now you, you'll hold it for 10 years. but
I left social media for a reason.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
people are so mean. People are so
I
brutal.
got a comment on my my Onion video.
Okay, yeah, so-
Somebody mentioned something about like my teeth or like me, like my eye looking lazy or something.
Oh,
And I
damn.
have never forgotten.
This
Like,
is a
there-
video.
there
How
are,
many
like,
views has this video got on the Onion?
I actually
20
just looked
million
at
at
it
this
the
point?
It's
Like
at like almost four
On their
and a half, something
official
like that.
site.
On their official site, yeah.
Right. So you
But-
think Rips and Facebook and everything else, like
Yeah.
millions upon millions of people have seen this,
Yeah.
and that sticks with you.
Yeah, and the ones that said that I looked like I had dead husky eyes. Yeah. Yeah. It's ones like that. Yeah. It's ones
And
like
then
that.
and I haven't spoke to my aunt since.
Well, that's the thing. It's
Dead
like,
husky
as
eyes is
soon
really
as-
good. That's
yeah,
good.
When it first published, those
We
were
all
like,
just did it. We looked at each other like, yeah, they got a
those
point.
were like
yeah.
the comments that like my friends would find and like
Mm-hmm.
send to me, and then like my family would see those comments, and my like brothers and my cousins just never let me live it down. Those
That's-
kind of things.
See, there's either
Yeah.
that happening, and that's hilarious, or like you have a family member like taking up for you in the comments. And like, don't. That's worse.
Yeah, just
don't
you're making
do
it
that.
bad. You're
Has
making
that
it
happened yet?
terrible.
Have like any of your articles been published or posted on Facebook, and mom and dad comes into the comments like, "My baby, she killing it."
No, they're pretty hands off.
Oh, okay. All right, look at you.
They sound like
I don't
smart
even-
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even know if my dad really realizes where I work. Like, he's just kind of.
Oh my gosh, that's
I
amazing.
think he thinks I work at the Post Dispatch. Like, if I had
No,
to-
that makes
Sure.
my dad the other day. I was like, so how's radio? Like, you know, I haven't been in radio for an entire year. Why are you saying things? Why are
Yeah.
you? Do you not know what your son does for a living? Like, I don't know. He'll do something. I don't know.
That's amazing. So then he's like, "How's the newspaper business?" And you're like,
I'm
"It's
like,
great."
It's so. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I do the same thing. When like my uncle or my grandfather's like, "How's the movie business?" Are you really good? I'm like, "It's going really well."
they be doing the movies. They be doing the movies.
Making movies. Yeah.
That makes me so happy because I see it with comics all the time. You'll have somebody, and we talked about this.
Yeah.
Somebody they were on a TV set in LA 3 days prior, and millions upon millions of people watching, and then they go in and do a guest set at a bar show, and someone who got off work at Enterprise 3 hours previously goes, "They're okay." What the what? They're okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that means you're prepared for your Christmas dinner conversations with the parents.
Yes, definitely. And I had like a very awesome career in New York. Never once worked at a newspaper.
That's.
Awesome.
I mean, it's all the same. It's all
I mean,
just.
it's really humbling.
Yeah,
no
you'll
other-
never
Yes.
feel more humble than around your family.
Oh my,
Yeah.
Than to
that's
have your family just be like, "Oh, that's what you do," and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
really cutting to the core."
while they get your cousin who just got promoted to assistant manager at the grocery store an extra slice of pie for his big
Yeah,
year. It's like you're like,
exactly.
wait, what? It's like what?
See, but you guys are lucky because you know how to benefit. See, I have black family members.
that
I don't know
so?
if you guys were aware of this. And so now they'll ask, "Oh, so can I get an animated character on Sesame Street? Can I get one of them? How much it costs to get me a Muppet? Because man, you should make me a Muppet." I'm like, I don't have that ability. I don't even think the people who
Christmas so bad,
Oh.
and just watch you, just observe.
So that part to me is hilarious. There's very unique things happening in this room with everybody, and then the holidays and all that good stuff. So I can't remember if you knew that. So Travis was in Brooklyn not long ago for a Sesame Street
Right,
writing. What do we call it? Fellowship. To this day, people tell on themselves. They're like, "How's Travis like in New York?" And I'm like,
you guys are not following my life at all.
I'm like,
None of you are following my
all
life.
we do is create content all day, every day. All you would have had to do is just like see one Facebook post to realize
Oh,
like, he's been back for half a year.
I don't feel bad because my stepmother the other day was like, "Oh boy, so New York going okay?" I was like, "I don't live there presently,
I guess it's going.
so I
great.
guess it went well."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So okay, so you mentioned that you were in New York for a little bit. You're currently with St. Louis Magazine. Journalism. Where do you get your start? Where do you go to college? Like, what do you think of the last 20 years, 15 years of the changes in media too? So let's start. Where did you jump into college at?
I went to Mizzou, like half of St. Louis.
Go Tigers!
Thought you looked familiar. Were you hanging from a chandelier in 2007? Yeah.
No. Went to
Don't say
Like,
that.
nah,
man.
it's
Thank
a balcony
you.
at Fieldhouse. Relax, okay? Relax.
Right. And it wasn't a chandelier. His name was Steve. Okay.
No, I was very nerdy. Never partied. Went to J school there. This was in 2010 when I graduated.
Okay.
And they had the option you could do your bachelor's and then stay for an extra year and get a master's
Yep.
degree. So the economy was still pretty sluggish, and
Yeah.
I thought, might as well just like hide out an extra year.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So I did that coursework, and then part of the master's program was interning somewhere for the summer. So I was interning at the RFT, the Riverfront Times here in St. Louis, and I had just turned 22, and I was living at home with my parents in St. Charles, and job hunting, writing my sort of like thesis component, working for free for the RFT, and just like taking so much Zoloft. Like much Zoloft I could take that day.
Yeah. What are my limits?
Yes.
All of us were like, we were there too.
Right.
Go on.
Oh, that's how you fix
Familiar.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
And I don't even think this magazine is around anymore, but I had applied to this sort of like local little interiors magazine, and they offered me the job, and it paid like $13,000.
Oh,
And
no.
I was trying to negotiate a salary for the first time, and they called me, and they were like, if you're not grateful for this opportunity.
Wow.
And they revoked the job offer. And so then I was just like taking more Zoloft. And, but around that time,
Oh,
so
that makes
the-
me so happy. I'm so sorry. I'm so happy that I got to hear that.
But
Oh,
I'm even happier to hear that you knew right away at that age, like, no, let's
what are you
let's talk about this some
my
more.
bartender
Yes.
friends are
But
making
right.
5 times.
Right.
Yes,
So I'm glad you knew
yes.
enough at that moment, because a lot of us at that age probably wouldn't have been smart enough to
Be like,
negotiate.
cool, a
shit.
job.
It's
Let's
like,
do
all
it.
right, cool, a check coming in. I will take it. All right.
So then around that same time, I was just like very sad that happened. And,
Aw.
the Riverfront Times was owned by this sort of larger chain of alternative weeklies across the country. And a copy chief job opened up at the Village Voice in New York City.
Oh, nice.
Which is, sadly, the Village Voice no longer exists,
Right.
if
Right.
that tells you anything about my media career.
I wish we would have had a situation where Travis gets caught in a lie, where he's like, "I was just hanging out there when I was in New York."
Oh,
You're like,
man, boy, I was just had breakfast there. The
Yeah,
other,
no,
it's
you-
been closed for a few years.
No,
now.
you weren't.
You're an idiot.
And I just thought, oh, well, like, I'll apply for this. I'm not going to get it. It's a management job.
Right.
And took the test, and the editor-in-chief of the Village Voice called the Riverfront Times one day to talk to the editor-in-chief to see if he would recommend me for it.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think I would have gotten the job had he not been on vacation. And they kicked him to the managing editor, who at the time was Sarah Fensky, who now works at Public Radio.
Yeah.
Radio, yeah.
And I guess Sarah spoke very kindly of me, which I, to this day, I would not have gotten the job, I don't think, if it hadn't been for her.
Oh, wow.
And the Village Voice editor-in-chief called me up and said, you know, hey, do you want to come and join my team out in New York City? Can you be here in 2 weeks? And I was like, yeah.
You did.
So I, moved out to New York City, and
How old were you at this time?
I was like 22.
Goodness gracious.
And-
That's scary looking
That
back
is
now. As a
22.
35-year-old
Yeah.
thinking about that, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
That's
like
what I
that's
did.
a big
with,
one.
That's like what I did with Chicago.
It
And
is.
Yeah.
I think about it now, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I had a suitcase, and I was just like living with a Craigslist roommate in Chicago. And I was like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Right.
And the staff of the Village Voice immediately put a hit out on me. And
Oh, no.
Wait, what?
they the person who was sort of in charge of the union there, who was the like assistant art director, he had been there for 30 years. We would work very closely together. He emailed HR, and he was like, just revoke the job offer, which would have been like my second
Oh,
like,
no.
revoked
Oh,
job
no.
offer. She's an infant, which I agree with him now. Like they should not have
point.
given me that job. And they didn't want someone who wasn't a New Yorker, which I also, okay, fine, take the job away from me. But they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went there, and it was such a learning curve, but also just the most amazing first job experience. And went on to work at, Hearst, Time Inc.,
Yeah.
these sort of like big media companies. And then my job before I moved back to St. Louis was a national affairs editor at Newsweek. So
Oh,
just
wow.
kind of like
Awesome.
built my career from there. My father still thinks I work at a newspaper. It all meant nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
All that being
yeah.
said.
All I
All
work for
means
nothing.
nothing.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. What about, I mean, I can't imagine going as a 22-year-old to New York and then have professional writers have a hit out on you. How did you adjust? What kind of stabilized it all for you? Because like you said, the short learning curve, you have to learn quickly on your feet, I would imagine, in New York, especially as a journalist. What did it for you?
I think I was just so naive and stupid that I didn't even realize that everyone hated me, hated my cuts. And I was coming, from the Midwest, so I was just very, nice to people. And I think, like, looking back, I'm like, oh, I think they were mean to me, and I just didn't realize. Like, I
Realize
just
it,
wanted
okay.
friends so badly. And I never knew that they had kind of rallied against me until I was leaving that job. And Jesus, the man who kind of like was the ringleader, he was like my closest colleague there, and like we still keep in touch today.
That's
I love
awesome.
him. I just wear people down eventually.
Good.
He pulled me aside and he was like, we all told corporate that we didn't want to work with you, and they wouldn't listen, and we told them to revoke your job offer. And I was like, okay, yeah, great, good to know, good to know. And it's with that vote of confidence that I launched my career.
Yeah.
That's insane
That is
how that
amazing.
works out
And,
too.
like, what
no one
better-
likes a new person either.
What better place to like start working in New York as a like early 20s person than the Village Voice? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I
There's-
just finished reading Meet Me in the Bathroom this year, which is about the like New York music scene with like the Strokes and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs in like the early 2000s and stuff. And it's just like all of the people like a good portion of the people they interview are all like Village Voice writers who were like the ones who championed all of these bands to like everyone else and to make them popular in the first place. And I was like, oh my God, the Village Voice. What a good job that would be.
That's insane when you
It's
think
so
about
great.
that. I heard an interview with Rob Zombie, of all people, who's like a normal person, by the way.
Right.
Who he was like, we were kind of like the last band in New York that hadn't been signed, and somebody took a fly on us. Like major label
Yeah.
signing, like you have these waves of things or trends that happen, and it is the media that kind of drives the
And
perception.
it's mostly
of
the
that.
like weekly, like the alternative weekly ones. Like in Chicago, it's the Reader, and it's a big like the Reader was the one that like broke the big story of the like all of the sexual assault and stuff in the theater world a couple of years ago, and it like became a big national story and all this stuff. And it's like, unfortunately,
Did your lawyer get that cleared up?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that still an issue?
Yeah, my
Okay.
name has been changed.
Okay, good.
Like those are the ones that are like disappearing the quickest, but yet are the ones that have like
Made the bigger impact.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I find that to be
that's my
interesting too.
soapbox.
And at We Are Live Radio on Twitter, if you all check out, I just sent a link out to, you can see all of Amanda's stories and recent topics and
Oh, thank you.
at wherever she is covering. As far as being back in St. Louis and then jumping in, obviously your time in New York and then bring it back. Do you feel like your time there has brought you more gifts or talents to apply to St. Louis and covering what you do? Like, is it fun having a different perspective? Because we beat ourselves up plenty, but we also have good quality stuff here. We don't always realize, like, oh, hey, this is good work too. Have you used, I guess, the tactics or the skills and applied those, and do you feel like it works in St. Louis too, or is there a formula that specifically has to be done to kind of hometown feed people?
That's such an interesting question. I didn't think I was going to get the job because I just hadn't lived in St. Louis for 8 years, and
Right.
that's you kind of
People
have to know
freak
that.
out. People are like, they're not from here. I'm like, they're an engineer. I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
They don't know how our bridges work. It's like, what? It's a bridge. Like, come on.
I think pretty early on into my tenure, I tweeted something about Highway 64, and people were like,
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
But I think, if you're trained as a journalist, you kind of know how to drop down into somewhere and just kind of start talking to people. You do one interview, you say, who are you really excited about? What are you following right now? What are we not covering that we should be? And I
Right.
think that's really one of the great things about doing journalism in 2019 is you can kind of have these conversations with readers, not just when you're out in the field kind of reporting, but through social media. If someone makes kind of like a bad comment or a mean comment, which doesn't actually happen too often. I feel like our readers are pretty generous and like positive.
There's a tone that's set. Like if we
Yeah.
decided we were going to play in the we make fun of everything game and we're mean to people online game, you open yourself up to that, the
Certainly.
criticisms for sure.
Yeah. But, every kind of critique is a chance for us to look and say, oh, like, should we be doing that? And sometimes our readers throw out kind of really good story ideas, and we say, like, oh, yeah, we should do that. And there's no, that's like great market research. Oh, we know that someone's interested in that. There's probably, a good portion of the population who would read that story. We should give it a shot. So, yeah, I don't think New York made me tough as nails. Like that first job was kind of like a theme throughout my career. Just being so young, you kind of had to like go in and prove yourself. And I think it's also kind of intimidating arriving in St. Louis because there are so many different media outlets. Like there's the Post-Dispatch, the Biz Journal, the RFT, public radio. There's like 3 major news stations. There's a bunch of different food publications. Like there's just so much competition.
Right.
And I was a little bit intimidated like walking into that and not really having that background of really ever having lived in St. Louis. I grew up in St. Charles.
Right.
Which people point out is not the same thing all the time. So, yeah,
it ain't. I'm just letting you know it ain't.
So this year was kind of my first full year of really being out there. And, and I do think people I talk to I do pick up certain things where maybe someone who has been living here for 20 years doesn't think that's kind of remarkable or different or interesting. So I think it's good to have that mix on staff.
I always really it's interesting because it's the same. It's a similar mindset that I have towards, I guess, interactions that I have with St. Louis now, having not lived here for 12 years almost. I feel like before I moved to Chicago, St. Louis was like the last place that I wanted to come and live. But I feel like in the time that I've been there, St. Louis has become more like a for want of a better term, just like a hipper city, almost, like especially down in this area and the Grove and all of that and everything. I like, how has your view on the city changed from like having lived, because I didn't really grow up in St. Louis. I kind of did because my family lived in like O'Fallon and St. Peters and whatever, but not in
seeing it through adult eyes, basically.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Like has St. Louis become like it is for me, like almost a surprisingly more welcoming city for like, young people, I guess.
Yeah, people say this all the time. It's very affordable to live here, which is great. We basically just got priced out of Brooklyn. We really wanted to own a home and put equity into something, and that just wasn't. We would have to move to like Orange, New Jersey for that to happen.
Yeah.
So
as a fellow Brooklynian,
okay,
a Brooklynite,
Yes.
as a Brooklynista, I agree.
No, the
I
same
completely
thing.
agree.
My younger brother lives in Southern California, and
Yeah.
he got lucky, and they bought a house in what's Riverside, but Riverside was literally where they were going to film Breaking Bad until Texas sent them to New Mexico because it was like legit meth country. Now there's 30,000 people moving there every month or whatever because they get priced out of LA. But if you want to live in LA, that's a 2-hour drive, right? Like that's the same thing around these giant metro areas. So St. Louis can benefit from that. I feel like from people that don't want to live in the suburbs, but want like the amenities of a city and can afford to live there.
Right.
And I also think that, entertainment is very affordable. There are a bunch of great restaurants that you can dine out at for like a reasonable price. There's so many things to do and see, and it's not like in New York where you're like, oh, should I eat this week, or like, do I want to go to this concert? Man, those were hard decisions.
Yeah, exactly. It was always
These
like,
chips will do. These will be good.
Yeah,
This will get me to Friday.
Exactly.
Oh.
They're just becoming stale, so they should be fine. And I could always maybe get a free ticket from this person, so I think we're gonna even out.
Yeah.
We've kind of left Chris Gardner out in the cold here. Gardner, you're
Boo!
the unofficial mayor of the Central West End, and you keep a watchful eye on urban development. Do you like where St. Louis is going? I know you have some. You will rest in peace your dive bars that you frequent. That you lose to.
And I understand what people call gentrification. My concern is displacement more than anything when things like that happen.
Right.
Like, I'm going to lose a bar here and there. That's fine.
Funny coming from a man who's sober 6 years.
I do not
also.
like losing neighborhood bars like in bunches, which I do see happening. So I think in the Central Corridor things are developing now. Outside of that, some you still have work to do, and there's not an investment there necessarily yet. Now we'll wait and see what NGA does on the north side, if that helps with development. But the Central Corridor is definitely thriving, and I would agree with Amanda in terms of, like, I grew up in O'Fallon, Missouri. And then I came to the city. That's still eye-opening for someone who was isolated in the suburbs of St. Louis.
Right.
That's still a lot different.
Yeah.
It's still duplexes and houses and subdivisions and cookie cutter and it's
Driving
still
everywhere.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have a car now. I take public transit. That's not going to happen in O'Fallon, Missouri.
No, it's
Right.
not.
Your scooter will get your ass beat in O'Fallon.
I'm taking the scooter out there this week for
It's
Christmas.
like 60 degrees for Christmas.
I know.
So I believe
I'm gonna have my dad on the Harley and me on the scooter, electric scooter,
All right.
and we'll see what happens.
But is that kind of
But
the,
no, I mean, it's like I was excited to move to the city, but there was a major adjustment for me, not only in terms of lifestyle and stuff like that, but in terms of knowing what the city is and how it functions and what other, like, it brought so much more knowledge to me, seeing what people go through living in dense areas, and also the struggles that some have that you're ignorant to, completely ignorant
Yeah.
to, that foster kind of your beliefs to begin with. They change because you see things differently, and I think that's important for people to see. And I can relate to that growing up in St. Charles County.
have you found that people from the stories that you write, especially about some of the new art installations, new things culturally that are popping up around St. Louis, like people from St. Charles and these rural areas, are they reading these pieces and going, oh, I guess I can make my way on down to the city and check some of these things out? Do you see that you guys resonating with folks perhaps outside of the St. Louis city area with some of the things that you showcase?
I do. I think the aquarium is going to be a huge draw for people
Yeah.
to come.
That's so
from
crazy. I'm
St.
so
Charles.
excited that the city is going to
on
have
Christmas
that.
Day, Wednesday, official opening, right?
Christmas, yeah.
Christmas, okay.
Wow, I didn't
Sold-
know it was
I
that
guess
soon.
They,
Yeah.
like, who knows what it was set up, but sold out, right? Like they sold whatever was available is filled. Like it's going to be like their dock.
People have
their
already
docket's
decided.
full.
Okay,
That's
interesting.
amazing.
Or should I say their dock is full?
Nailed it.
Water
term.
So I think,
Maritime.
Maritime humor.
but I think St. Louis Magazine also, we try to do a good job of talking about issues that people from communities that, like North City, like North County. I just did an interview with someone who sits on the advisory committee of GeoFutures, which is kind of working with the NGA on that next campus. In an area that, needs revitalization. Will it revitalize that area?
Right.
Remains to be seen.
I think you'll get a quick trip in a Starbucks on the way there.
Yeah. They are doing they're going to be, strategizing and doing work with the public schools in that area, because
cool.
one of the things they really need to think about is training, the next group of scientists and government officials who are going to work at that facility. So I can tell you they are very concerned with, building
Well,
up
that's
the
good to
talent
hear,
pool.
because that's my
Why
first
not
time hearing
look in
that,
your
because it makes a
backyard?
ton of sense. And if you're talking about is it going to work, that's one way to go about it. I would imagine is
Yeah,
trying
it's
to
like
get those.
it's like similar to like when the GM plant was up and running and everything, and it's like everybody that worked there kind of lived in that general vicinity.
Right.
So it's like, I mean,
Might as well.
it creates a community, and
Right.
it helps the surrounding area, as opposed to just making it just like a bleak industrial corridor type thing.
Right.
Right.
Right, where you ignore the people that you drive by every day.
Right.
Exactly, and they
Yeah,
just
you
all
don't
get
want to-
displaced. And
Yeah. More importantly, recently in St. Louis Magazine, you covered the 4 stages of shopping at Schnucks before a snowstorm.
Oh, yes, I did.
I find this to be very interesting and very true in regards
Oh,
to.
I did not know this was a thing.
St. Louis,
We will dramatize this,
we-
and this will be something we will put on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I did not know. Can we walk through this?
Yes, we
Okay,
absolutely can.
all right, let's do
so we're going to
this.
start with this. So
I think the next one should be Whole Foods instead of Schnucks. Because here's the deal, and it's happened twice.
This isn't Town and Style. This is
Milk-
St.
I'm
Louis
not
Magazine,
in that income
okay?
bracket.
Milk.
I don't know that I can write.
But milk, eggs, and bread, right?
Right,
Okay,
you know,
that's
yeah.
what you get. You go to the bread aisle there, it's all gone. The 2 times I've gone to Whole Foods in situations like this, the kale is gone. The bread is full.
Ransacked.
Are
And
you
I
serious?
smile every time I see it.
That's
I'm like,
hilarious.
oh, the kale's gone. There's all the bread. you need." I'm like, this is so perfect.
You
That
gotta
makes
make those
me
smoothies still.
so-
Hello?
And since you're gonna be home, you gotta make multiple smoothies.
Happy.
So perfect. And
Oh,
I'm like, man, we just walk into these stereotypes.
Oh, it's outstanding. I would have loved to have seen it. Oh, that's awesome.
All right, the kale's out and Lululemon's been raided.
We need extra layers. It's so cold.
But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so Travis, if you're gonna act this out,
Okay.
I'm gonna vote Travis as the most animated of the group here. It's a wild guess. Yeah, he tends
out
to
there.
react
Throw it
to
against the
things.
wall, yeah.
So I'll give it to you.
Okay.
You can act it out, and then Amanda can run us through each one. Is that all right? Does that
Okay,
make
Yes.
sense?
All right.
So, and I've got it pulled up. So if you want to pull it up, take a second. I will
Yes,
do a
thank you.
quick. Thank you to Sophie's and GastroPit. We do weekly comedy shows each Thursday. They're free this week.
Chris, there's
Happiest
shows this
hour.
week?
Yes.
The day
that's
after
right.
Christmas comedy show.
That's
What shows
right.
are on?
Happiest Hour comedy series. Stop by 6 o'clock right here in Grand Center. You can say hello. You can have some laughs. And you know who presents it with us? Jack Daniels. That's right.
Jack lives
Look
here. He's going to be
out.
living in my kitchen tomorrow.
I tell you what, yeah, get through the holidays with some Jack Daniels, people.
'Cause I'm a
Schlafly
drunkard.
also pushes this for us. We're gonna have a great lineup this week. I believe we have one comic in from New York, and then one about to head to New York. Stop stealing our decent comics, New York. I kind of downplayed that, but stop stealing our
the
great
anger is
talent.
real.
Yes, it is. So it'll be a great show. Come out 6 o'clock this Thursday. Sophie's for your post-Christmas comedy, and then 8:30 at GastroPit on the Hill. And stick around for Happy Hour Barbecue if Gardner doesn't eat it all first. Travis, your first, again, you can see this in St. Louis Magazine, stlmag.com. 4 stages of shopping at Schnucks before a snowstorm. Here we go. Nick, you ready for this?
I'm so ready.
This is such a St. Louis thing, and I love it so much. And in the article, there's actually an awesome piece. Number 1, act out anticipation.
How many inches we getting? Oh, I gotta go to the store. Child, oh Lord, because they ain't even gonna put the salt down. I know they ain't put the salt. Let me go ahead and get to this grocery store.
Did you see Camo V?
Oh, goodness.
It's gonna be hell.
Feet of snow and 2 inches of ice.
And MoDOT not even out here yet. Where's MoDOT in they truck? All them taxes I pay.
Does Steve still work for them?
He does. I'll give him a call right now.
Call him up.
I will call him right now.
Right
When's
now.
it supposed to snow next week?
Because
I don't know why they're not out there.
I ain't
right
gonna be
now.
stuck at work. I know that. They ain't gonna have me stuck at work. They won't.
You can't see the arch. It's cloudy.
That's the ultimate. Like,
Anticipation.
I ain't gonna get stuck at work. They got me.
I was like,
got
I don't
me
know.
messed
Maybe you
up.
could get ahead for the
You're
next
a
week.
doctor, for Christ's sake. You don't have a say in any of this.
Normally with that anticipation, it's also, all right, what time does it start?
Yeah,
What
that's
time
what
is it
that-
gonna
that's
start?
what
Yeah,
time's
when's
it
it
start?
start?
That's the key.
When's it coming?
What
Ooh,
time does it
let me
start?
get to this Home Depot real quick.
Because like that's what we do with these these situations that we think are going to be dire.
When does it
you know what it
start?
makes me think of is like when we talked about the failed earthquake prediction of 1990 by Ivan Browning, when people were calling news stations and that. What time's the earthquake going to happen?
Yeah.
When the earthquake, when they say about 11, right? 11 to 12.
Right.
We
Okay.
always want to know what time
We
it's going
always
to
gotta
start.
do. We do. We are time. When Jesus coming back? Okay. Is that at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m.?
Yeah. Is it Central Time, Eastern?
Yeah.
What time frame are we working?
Are we in
on?
daylight savings?
Yeah. Is it daylight savings or not?
We are.
We're in
we-
Indiana.
Who's got the dog? We are a time-oriented
We gotta
city.
know
Why
what
are we?
time it's gonna
we
start.
gotta know what time.
Because it's a level of procrastination.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, how long can I
Procrastination,
wait?
you'll see a few flakes. This is 2 hours before they said it was gonna.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's
God,
the
I
thing that
have to
makes
go
you angry
now.
more.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Oh,
yeah, it's like
it is
how
so
long can I wait?
embarrassing.
You can like see it coming. I probably still got about 20 more minutes.
I got about 20 more minutes before I accumulate.
If I,
You gotta accumulate first.
Who's our friend that we just had in from California? She's a meteorologist here.
Oh,
Tracy
Hinton?
Hintz. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tracy Hintz. That poor girl.
Oh.
She's like, I love weather. I'm like, you're not going to, and people start yelling at you.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
answer the
I was like,
phone.
Don't
yeah.
answer the phone.
Yeah. Don't
so-
go on Twitter.
So stage one is
Anticipation.
Okay.
If you just want to give us a real summary of how this works.
Of anticipate. So
Yes.
I come from a very different background because I had a baby this year, and so
Congratulations.
Thank you. So when everyone
In the car, so we need to.
yeah.
Let's make this fast.
When everyone started posting, oh, I got to go to Schnucks, I just thought, get me out of this house.
Right. That's fair.
I've been in the
That's
house
true.
for 5 days with a sick baby. So
Aw.
I was sort of like, oh, anticipation. We're going to Schnucks. It's going to be great. We're going to get to buy things.
Uh-huh.
We're going to
be
get,
public.
yes, we're going to get 30 minutes of uninterrupted me time. This is going to be great. And then it was just so funny so this story idea obviously came from Twitter, as the funniest ones do. And it was just so hilarious to see people saying, oh, I got to get to Schnucks. I got to get my French toast ingredients, which I guess is a thing here. Everyone makes
it's
French
very
toast.
weird. I don't know why it started here.
I don't
why
know
it's a thing.
either.
I don't either.
And then to see, like, the next tweet from someone would be like, this was a bad life choice. So, which kind of leads us into the next stage, which is disbelief. Why did you think coming to the show?
Where all these people come from?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Did everybody else know it was snowing today? I didn't. How did all these people know it was snowing
Don't you
today?
people have jobs?
That's the one. That's the St. Louis
That's
one.
my
Ain't
parents'
y'all supposed to be at work?
That's my parents' response every time.
No matter what the
Anytime there's
situation.
traffic, they live in Lake St. Louis, Darden Prairie.
Oh.
Anytime it takes them like longer than a couple of minutes to go through a stoplight, don't you people have jobs?
Oh, my God.
Shouldn't you
Great.
be somewhere right now? Yeah, they're getting there now.
That's so funny.
That's why they're driving.
That's
That's why there are
universal.
people, Mom.
Yeah. Although I did the same thing this week. Saturday, I drove down here Sunday morning, and Saturday I still had a couple of things I had to buy, and I was like, this will be fine. This will be a quick errand trip.
Oh, God,
I'm going to go to
no.
like Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm going to go to PetSmart. It's going to be great. As soon as I got within like a 6-block radius of both of those stores, because they're in the same like megaplex thing, I could just see the traffic everywhere, and I was like, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done?
And I have to tell my parents this when they come from the county down to the city. You don't drive with pedestrians out in St. Charles County.
Yeah.
I live in the Central West End. It's a very pedestrian
Very
neighborhood.
pedestrian.
And the one thing they don't use is blinkers. And I'm like, and I yell at my mom and try to make this point to her. It's not because like, hey, you got to use your blinker. Like, someone is going to hit you from behind if
Right.
you don't. Like, you're going to end up in a car accident.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's complete. They are not used to driving with people walking around all the time either. So that's different too.
So yeah, people, snowflakes, same.
Same difference.
Just, you got to deal with them.
That's absolutely true. Some of the Twitter stuff too. There was a woman that ran into Phyllis from the office while she was at Schnucks during her pre.
Oh,
Which is
really?
just like the most St. Louis.
That
thing
is the
to
most
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Right.
And, like,
How
was
amazing
Phyllis
is that?
wearing a Blues jersey? Like, I need to know more.
Right.
Kemper.
This is so funny too because in your second one it's disbelief, which we just covered, and you highlight a tweet from KMOV's Alexis Zotos, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Saw her that day while she was at Schnucks.
That's
We're
hilarious.
both. I'm like, how are you? What's up, Alexis?
That's hilarious. So the whole community was literally there. Hey, Ozzie Smith. Hey, Jim Edmonds.
And it's just everybody standing in the aisles, just like angrily shaking their heads at each other. And
said-
it's just this response.
Fred Bird's not even taking hats. Fred Bird's like, yeah, I'm here too,
Yeah,
mother.
it's
What
just
y'all want
like
me
a
to do?
silent movie. All you hear is just the sound of like whatever music they're playing,
Yeah.
whatever like
Oh yeah.
like
It's-
Paul
Steve
McCart-
Winwood. Yeah.
whatever like Paul McCartney Christmas Pandora is playing, and it's just everybody just like just like shaking their heads and
so we move on to number 3.
That was
Where are we
3.
at?
So number 3 is kind of interesting, which is perseverance. And I feel like St. Louis does not like to stand in a line, and they consider a line to be more than 3 people,
Yes.
which is very different in other cities.
What are you doing?
You mean I have to wait for something? Like,
yeah,
So
just
so true.
fuming,
Yeah.
standing in the back of the line. Okay,
Right.
paying with a check, right?
Yeah.
Check. Sure. I did that yesterday on my drive. Stopped at a gas station, and the woman in front of me was buying like a bunch of food from the like display case by the register, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw her say, "Yeah, I want this," and turn, and she had a checkbook in her hand, and I was like, "No!" And sure enough, wrote a check out.
That had to
for
be
it.
verified
They
probably
had
by 14 managers.
They had to take it in the back.
Take it to the
run
back.
whole
Yeah,
thing, and
sounds
I was
about
just
right.
like, "Good Jesus. Let's get this over with."
Yeah, my thing is, what are you doing buying groceries for your entire family?
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm an
well,
idiot.
I
I'm
know,
an
I'm
moron.
sorry.
I'll shut up and be quiet
But
now.
could you hurry up though? Because I got to get out of
Or
here before the snow starts. I have
if you're
20
trying
minutes
to
before the snow starts.
like make a quick turn into a lane, okay, and you're trying to scope it out. All right, this one's shorter than the other one, and you turn in and not realizing that the person has loaded up the conveyor
All
belt.
of it.
Yeah.
And you're
Like,
like,
oh,
I
that's
gotta
in the
get out
cart.
of here.
Yep.
Oh no, the other ones because
This
there might be more people, but they have less items,
This
and
is
you're
why
like,
you
oh, I made a
always-
terrible decision.
Yes.
You always shop in pairs in situations like that, because then you
Down
can
here,
have
down here.
yeah. You guys just start and you're like, okay, I'll check this way, you check this way, and as soon as you find a short one,
Yeah.
you just jump into it, and then the other person can run over. You have to do it. All the grocery stores in Chicago are so terrible when it comes to their checkout lanes. That's like a must. I can't go to the grocery store without my girlfriend because it's
You have
always
to have
like
a scout.
yeah, exactly. Because you're gonna stand like there are like two cashiers that like are slow. You know they just like have a conversation with every person that walks through. So you're like, okay, there's two people in that lane.
This one
but it's
doesn't
that
even have
guy.
a bagger.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in St. Louis, we have this thing where we feel like we should recruit employees for that particular job. Why they ain't got all these lanes open? Like, I got a cousin right now that need a job. He could be working this. We wouldn't even be in this problem if we got hired people.
Or it's like that guy's just standing around. Why can't he
Right.
run this register? Yeah.
He is literally a homeless person. We don't.
doesn't work
He
here.
does
He just
not
has a
work here at all.
register
He's just here.
I think I saw a tweet where, people were like, "Oh, this is a great idea." Someone was like, "Go to Schnucks with your significant other. One person stands in line, the other person goes around the store and shops and puts things in the cart." And everyone was like, "Oh, this is what it's come to." That's literally how we shopped in New York because
Yeah,
the Trader
yeah.
Joe's was so crowded. You had to do
Really?
that. Yeah.
Good
yeah.
God.
And everyone
I
was
don't
like,
know.
"Oh,
I feel like
brilliant
that-
idea."
My anxiety coming all over my
Yeah.
stomach. Because
Yeah.
being in line and then you like going closer to the cashier and y'all lay
Excuse
back.
me. Yeah,
Worst
I gotta-
fear in the world as a
Mind
kid.
if I
Yeah.
come
Worst
around
fear.
you there? Like I can see there it lead to some
Yeah.
interesting situations.
It's like getting in line and realizing you forgot something and be like, I'm just gonna go get it real fast.
Yeah.
Nothing gave me more anxiety as a kid.
When your mom would
When your
forget
mom like,
something.
I gotta get some bread, and then your
Stay here.
mama,
I can't find it.
and your mom not only that, your mama taking her sweet ass time. She's like,
Yeah.
was it the wheat bread I wanted, or was it the white? I'm like, woman, we're about to be up. Come on, we gotta do this.
These people are gonna be so
They're
mad at
gonna be
us.
so mad at me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you had the Jewel Osco by my apartment in Chicago. It's always like there's only like on a Monday night or like a Sunday afternoon is when it's the busiest. There's like 3 lanes open, all of them are packed. There's like 2 of the self checkouts that actually work, and that lane is going all the way back into the aisles.
Oh
and
yeah,
everything.
that's see.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's the
Not
worst
dealing
thing
with
ever.
that.
But like you have to do it, and you
That's
just are like,
right.
I guess I'm just gonna stand here and complain for the next 15
That's
minutes,
'cause that's all
and
you
then I'm
can
gonna
do.
buy my groceries and I'm gonna go home,
Yeah, that's all you can do.
and it's gonna be fine. But I'm angry.
Terrible. So we've covered perseverance.
All right,
Final
stage.
Final stage.
Final
What do we
stage,
have? Amanda?
Success.
Oh, there it is.
You got
just
your
mentioned it.
mile-long receipt. And you got enough bread for a family of 8.
Yes.
For this, like, 2
So you're
inches
a
of snow.
single person
2
in
inches
an
of-
apartment, like with your dog. Like, what do you need all
And
that
the
for?
funny thing is, you're right, because we bought all this stuff, and living in St. Louis, we know, as we've learned this week, that it will be melted in 48 hours. So we buy all this food, we go through all this anxiety for just a day and a half of just shitty weather.
Yeah.
Need a pasta and a jar of sauce, really.
It's essentially it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For
You
one
can make
person,
the whole
I mean,
thing
you
the
can,
night before for dinner, and
Yeah.
then like eat it for lunch the next day.
yeah,
with
exactly.
The leftovers.
And then you're fine.
Yeah, and then the snow's melted, and you can
The
walk
snow is
around.
you can ride.
Yeah.
I think we thrive on the adventure, though.
We do.
You know, we want to be in the mix. We want to see Phyllis from The Office.
We-
This
Right,
is our
exactly.
shot.
Yeah, it's like it's as exciting. Like it's as close to being like a huge metropolitan like
Exactly.
It really
thing that
is
St.
like
Louis can get is like having shitty weather
Yeah.
and having MoDOT be
Here we
terrible at
go.
fixing
But
it.
it's
It
like,
really
but you're
is
kind
like
of participating.
more like
Yeah.
a fire drill or
It is,
whatever because
yes.
it's how we prepare ourselves for the worst case.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so if it really does go down, we know what to get. We know what's in the grocery
Right.
store. We know what to get and how to stockpile it for days if needed.
Right.
So this
Whereas-
is how we kind of, without having a disaster, how we prepare ourselves for
Right.
disasters.
Whereas in Chicago in like 2011 or so, I think it was, we got 14 inches of snow overnight, and it's the only time. Like so, it was when it was so bad, people were like stuck in their cars on Lakeshore Drive.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had
I
to,
remember those
abandon
pictures.
their vehicles
Yeah.
and stuff. The Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
I was out of work for a day. The city shut down for like a day to clean everything up, and then the next day they were like, "All right, office is gonna be open." I was like, I had to dig. I was in a garden apartment at the time, and the snow had drifted up on my door, and I had to just stand there and like continuously open the door to push the snow out of the
Are
way.
you serious?
You were literally
Get
snowed in.
out. Yeah, it was like Little House on the Prairie. I was like snowed in. I was like, I'm gonna have to climb out my window or something. The little tiny like garden windows squeeze my little tiny body through it. Yeah, and then I was at work the next day, and those streets were like completely clear. They like
Unbelievable.
they don't mess around. As soon as this as soon as the snow starts, there's just like a fleet of trucks that come out and clean everything up because they know if they don't get like Lakeshore clean in time, then people are going to be trapped. Like they were trapped on like CTA buses and stuff, like
See,
public
that,
transit.
the anxiety just ran over my body.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
God, no!
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
And then I like look down here at you guys, and it's like chance of 2 inches of snow, and I call my dad. He's like, "Yeah, we're I took off work tomorrow. Just got back from the store. You know, they said it's gonna be pretty bad." And I was like, how bad is pretty bad? Probably like 2-3 inches, something like that, honey. Is that what it's gonna be? It's gonna be windy too. It'd be really windy. I'm like,
The wind is difficult.
I'm like, cool. It's gonna be -40 with a wind chill in Chicago today, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds cold."
That's why you
But-
get to buy a parka with the hood on it, because then that protects you from the wind.
Exactly.
That's the key.
And you wear just long johns at all times.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. That's how you deal with the winter.
Do you feel like you successfully cycled us through those 4 stages?
I think we got there.
We have a good
Yeah,
look.
I
at
felt
the-
it.
The mind.
I do love how we were all like,
Crazy
"Yep,
St.
get that one.
Yep, hear you there.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep."
Tale as old as time.
So what ended up happening was that Schnooks picked this up and put it on their Facebook.
That's
and they were like,
awesome.
Have a great
That's
day.
Nice.
That's-
Good
Yes,
for them.
career making
There you
Yeah,
go.
right?
post right there.
Right? Yeah.
All
That's
that
awesome.
college for that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Now you got
No,
something
I-
to talk about over the holidays with family, right?
Yeah,
It-
exactly.
It was like you bumped into like Mindy Kaling in New York, but now it's this.
Yeah, it's-
No,
yeah.
now it's Schnooks.
Shared your page. You had
That's
that
amazing.
with the video you did for the Onion that's so popular. I just tweeted that out as well. If you guys want to revisit that, who was the funniest person who you saw share the "Who's effing" video from the Onion?
The funniest, probably that Dan Blazarian guy. You know,
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, there's the guy with the models always on Instagram.
Yeah,
and
Do you know who that is, Amanda?
beards
and the
This is one of
guns
those
and
instances where I got to decide: am I going to lie or am I going to?
You should lie.
You
He's
should
better than
lie.
Okay,
I
You
okay.
wouldn't. You
Don't
would.
know who he
It's
is,
kind of a
don't
person
agree.
you
He's
don't really want to know.
He's a professional d-bag.
He's
like,
like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like he's like a male Instagram model essentially.
Okay.
Yeah,
But all he posts is like
Not
pictures
familiar.
of him and like models and like big guns. and-
super
Very-
super wealthy trust fund person
Yeah.
who's also done like professional poker. He for whatever he does, he
He's a
does it
professional
well.
douchebag.
Okay, I get
Yeah,
it. now.
professional
Okay.
douchebag.
Sounds
yeah.
charming.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he, but
yeah,
he shared
right.
the video, and it got. When I saw that he shared it on his Facebook page, when I went to look at it, it was at like 17 or 18 million views, and he had like just posted it like earlier that day, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
You're not you're laughing for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Like
Every
one of
like
those.
6 months, I go back and I look at the comments on that video, and it's always just like the comments are all the same, and then I always run into one that's like.
He's got dead husky eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or it's people that recognize me from doing Masterpiece reviews that are like, I swear that's the Masterpiece Reviews guy. And I want to like comment and be like, it is.
No one from the battery commercials.
No,
That was me.
I'm waiting for people to recognize it from the Angie's List one more than any of them, but that
He
hasn't
got
happened.
spoofed on Saturday Night Live for a commercial he did. Like they
I remember
did,
this.
they made
Angie's
fun of an
List.
Angie's List commercial that and they
Yeah.
called you a serial killer, right? Was that what it
They
was?
were-
Or-
They were pedophiles.
Yeah,
weren't
they were all like
Yeah, they were all-
they were all like
He's
felons.
dead, and they said dead husky eyes, which I thought was really rude.
They were all
Yeah.
felons on like work release or something.
Yeah.
but they were all.
But they
charged
played
with,
you,
yeah,
right?
They were
Like-
all charged with like low-level sex crimes. Or something like that was what it was.
I got caught peeing behind a school.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like,
It was
now I
Keenan-
work at Angie's.
yeah, and Kyle Mooney played me. in
No,
it.
Mooney did play you.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was the most surreal moment.
That had to be amazing.
That I got
Congratulations.
nothing. That I got nothing out of, other than like my family laughing.
Me
at
high
it.
fiving you every time I saw you. Yeah, dude, sweet man.
I mean, worth it, I guess.
And I'm sure my mom has all of them DVD. Nick's here.
Now, the video that Nick did for The Onion is one that I really want to do just for what's probably going to happen again for the family. I don't know how often does the commercial come up around your dinner table, but I just want it
Pretty
for
often.
because I just want to do it for that. Like, if you have to check out this video, for those who are not familiar, it's basically a spoof on dating sites.
This is
It's
10.
a-
How
it's-
old is this by now?
It was meant 8 or 9.
Still
8
holds up.
years ago.
Still pretty.
Still, it's very solid.
It's a spoof of like the New York Times like engagement videos that they do. Where it's like,
Yes,
we
yes.
met at my friend Jeff's party.
We'll show Amanda off air. I don't know if she wants
yeah.
the content associated with her name.
Yeah.
Like,
We're gonna
say
show you
like
that.
Like somebody's gonna Google like a cool place to get a burrito, and then it's her with like the who's effing. video. Yeah.
But I think because I think
burrito
that- right. But like, the content is so in your face and vulgar that I'm like, I would love to do that just because I know how awkward it would be
It
for my
is.
family to discuss, and I think that's so cool. It is a filthy funny
you're an
video.
actor.
My family loves it. My family, my cousins and everything think it's hilarious. There's still like
That's awesome.
my girlfriend's family. They all saw it and thought it was funny. And one of her uncles, Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving was like, you know, I had a guy at work the other day. He sent me an email with a video link in it, and I clicked on it, and it was your damn Onion video.
Somebody did that at my dad's work too.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I know Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was like, yeah, no, he dates my niece.
That's such a that's
So are you still with the girl from the video?
Are you guys still laughing?
Yeah.
It seemed like it was a lot of chemistry
For the
there.
longest time, we wanted the actress Marie Weiss.
She's brilliant in that too, by the way.
is-
She is
that was the first
phenomenal.
time I'd ever met her.
Really?
Just
You
like
got, that was funny, man.
And we've auditioned together a few more times, but she has a son. I don't think she has 2 kids. I think she just has 1. She has a son now.
Uh-huh.
And we always want to like try to get a hold of the guys who wrote and produced that and be like, hey, can we do a follow-up?
That is outstanding.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's never like we always talk about it and it's never happened. It's so good.
I say better that than somebody thinking like disassociating reality from that creative thing you did. Better that than the white supremacist you played on CBS.
Yeah.
Redline.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's like somebody
were very
runs up
good
and
at-
throws a drink in your face.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Or
Hey,
someone up her
jerk.
gives you a Confederate flag as a gift.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you are a great alt-right thug. Here you go.
You did great in that TV show.
I know you're doing it from your heart.
yeah. I know you didn't have to do a lot of research. on that.
Gardner.
Could I do a shout out?
Yes, do our Christmas shout-outs.
Yeah.
Okay. To our listener Lisa, or watcher Lisa.
I'll watch her, Lisa.
She knows I'm a cobbler boy, not a pie boy. I'm a cobbler boy.
Cobbler
I
boy.
was
No.
like, you're into making shoes?
And
I had no idea.
I did have a cobbler.
Oh,
My grandpa recommended him.
Hey, Daniel Day-Lewis is a cobbler.
Who is?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Really?
That's why you quit acting,
Yeah.
didn't it?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
send him my
Become
Cole
a
Hans.
He
professional
did Gangs
cobbler.
in New York. Scorsese had to go talk him out of being he was working as a cobbler in Italy.
He should have. I would have. What if he would have turned down the role to stay cobbling?
He almost did.
That would have been fantastic.
Well, he heard.
He had to learn to be a tailor, like for Phantom Thread. He's like, a legitimate, like he makes his own suits and stuff now.
They said he took the boxing role. What I can't remember what movie it was. He did boxing, like he like straight up boxed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Lisa for bringing me a peach cobbler.
Oh,
while I was on my
you're
shit
a
break
monster,
earlier.
Chris. You don't deserve that.
And I got some vanilla ice cream to go with it. So
Oh,
that's
boy.
my breakfast.
Amanda, don't go back to STL Mag. Just stay here to cover how a producer dies from diabetic shock.
I'm all over it.
Cobbler is better than pie, and it's a hill I'm willing to die
Isn't
on.
cobbler just poorly put together pie?
There it is.
Or it might have
Thank
more
you.
sugar in it.
Needed to be said.
Thank you.
But isn't it like it's just like a pie that
Lazy people
didn't
pie.
hold together?
Shut
Had
your pie
maybe
mouth.
a
Shut your
soggy
pie
bottom?
hole, okay?
Barry would say.
Shut your pie hole
Shut your
and
pie
stop
hole.
Shut your
defending
cobbler
Big
hole.
Pie
Shut your
and get
sloppy
on the
cobbler.
bandwagon with Cobbler Boy.
Shut your sloppy cobbler hole and listen.
Who are you shouting out for Christmas, Nick Freed?
Shout out to the Freed family.
Nice.
Well, you wore their
Living it
shirt.
up,
I
Freed
think that was a
family
big enough.
retreat.
Yeah.
25 years of fun. I got one shirt for every year.
Nice.
Wow.
I still wear them.
Smart.
Jealous? How many T-shirts you got that got your family reunion on 'em?
Well,
Is that a real question, Nick? Nick, is that a real question, Nick?
It's just because you were right
Hey,
here.
I was gonna go. A family reunion or airbrush? Which one?
like, Nick DeTaltis
I-
DeTaltis
I'm
count?
about to say. I can.
Yes.
We have uniforms for the weekend, Nick. I don't know if you do that at Black Friday.
Oh man, I wish.
Wear your hats, y'all. Bring the hats.
I wish I.
Yeah, I
had-
don't know how hard it was to get
He's
those
got a
hats in.
T-shirt for every year, and there's a weekend I can't get a grill at Forest Park.
Now you Tammy's
I
baby,
wish.
so you get the orange shirts.
Yeah.
If you was a Jackson family,
Uh-huh.
you would get the blue ones, but you're Tammy's
Yeah.
boy, so that's what he's
I
like.
wish we
okay.
had at least one airbrush Freed reunion shirt. Man, this might be what happens next year. Is I just make everybody airbrush shirts.
You should.
I like
oh my
that.
god, I love a good airbrush. I love
so
a good
good.
county fair airbrush.
Absolutely, it's very important. And don't look down on us. Where you grew up, I'm sure there's plenty of airbrush at the
Oh.
at St.
The
Charles.
St. Charles
Oh,
County
yes.
Fair.
Oh, for sure.
I drove by the fairgrounds, the St. Francis County Fairgrounds.
Of course.
I was like, and that is the fairgrounds. My girlfriend was just like, cool. I was like, I had many a formidable moment at that.
Did you have a butter cow though? Did you have a butter cow?
I was in a band that played on the back of a flatbed truck on the racetrack
oh my God.
at that county fairgrounds.
Oh
Do you
man.
know what a flatbed truck is?
Yeah.
You're doing better than one of our U.S. senators. Josh Hawley.
Oh, we made it this far.
Would you like to give a shout out to for Christmas?
Oh,
you want to
yeah.
shout out anybody that
Oh.
baby of yours?
Oh, my beautiful son.
All right.
yes, my loving and supporting partner, and my dad, who still doesn't know where I work.
You know my baby's at the New York Times now. she Donald Trump called her fake news, but that's my baby because she writing away. Like,
Right.
Dad, I haven't ever worked for the
Yeah,
Times. So.
I'll have to tell Grandma and Grandpa once again. It's not on the radio. The show is not on the radio.
I tried to turn the dial, and I could not
couldn't
find your
pick you
show. I can't find
I don't
it.
think our antenna's strong enough.
We have comments saying I always point out the fairgrounds as well from Royce.
Yeah. It still has the like sprint car on top of the sign, I think.
Yeah.
Who you giving a shout out to for
important.
Christmas, Chris?
Everybody for listening. Big thanks to everybody for tuning in. It's been fun. We're gonna be back this week, but
We'll be back on Friday.
Yeah, I hope everybody has happy holidays, good Christmas, all that good stuff. Amanda, real quick, do you have anybody?
I just want to shout out to Black Jesus.
Okay.
Big week for him.
Yeah,
Big week for Black Jesus.
Yeah.
You know how we like to
say
celebrate.
Jesus.
St. Nicholas was black.
He was. That's a.
Call me Nick, man.
I thought that was a nickname you had for like Eddie Murphy or something.
No, no.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Has anybody seen SNL?
Yeah,
I
It
did.
was brilliant.
How was
It
it?
was
Yeah?
pretty
It was
solid.
good. There was definitely a moment during the Black Jeopardy Velvet Jones.
I haven't
sketch
watched that one yet.
where I was kind of like, Eddie,
Yeah.
like, it was very much just like
Did
Eddie
you see
doing
it?
the hits.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
I have only watched the monologue, the opener.
Yeah.
The opener monologue.
The
Dude,
monologue was good.
Yes.
When all
I
the-
think it like from what I've seen, like it might not. Like he did the hits
did the
basically,
hits.
right? Like
His
where
Gumby
if
on
you
Weekend
weren't
Update was
familiar
really
with
good,
that, it would just be kind of like,
Yes.
I don't know.
But
Yes.
I think it was
yeah, that was
That
the
was
best.
good.
Kept
That was
calling
the best.
Michael J a black bastard.
Yeah. Michael Che, you black bastard.
yeah. It was.
And what did he call? He called Colin Jost.
Trailer.
Haircut.
It was it was some very like
Weird.
very weird like white Like it sounded like
Yeah.
a white, like the first time anyone has ever been able to create a white slur.
Yeah.
Like Eddie Murphy created it somehow. He said it, and I was like, ooh. and Colin Jost just kind of like laughed.
It was great seeing him work the muscles again, though. It was a lot
It
of
was.
fun. That was a lot of fun.
He was good, but there was definitely moments where I was like, he's just hitting the. He
Yeah.
knows his catchphrases,
Yeah.
and he's gonna hit him.
It was Eddie Murphy being Eddie Murphy most of the show, and that's what you expected.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
yeah,
was good.
you're just happy to. It's like I said, it's when you see Jordan on the court, like it's just cool to have him
Right.
back shooting the shot again. And so
Yeah.
it was cool with Eddie, like having him see.
That's the word of the day. Squad is right.
But
Especially when
2020
you live in someone else's home.
but it's great. Also great to see that 2020 is we're gonna get a lot more Eddie. So obviously
Yeah.
with the success of Dolomite, and then of course we know I think Coming to America is gonna come out later next 2020. So I'm excited for that.
That was one of the good. Was it Chappelle that had the joke in
Yeah.
the monologue of you're looking at
half
of
the Netflix budget. And I think that
Tracy
one.
Morgan killed it. With
Tracy Morgan did kill. Like he made a joke. He was like, "Yeah, actually, guys, I don't do the Netflix. I make all my money on the road." It's like, "Oh, you've been doing a lot of touring, Tracy?" It's like, "No, I just got hit by a truck."
and it broke Eddie Murphy.
It brought even Eddie was just like, "Damn it, Tracy!" Like it was literally And what the cool moment was, there was only one person on planet Earth who could do that joke,
Yeah.
and it was Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
And
No, I
he
got hit
nailed-
by a truck.
I literally got hit by a truck. So yeah.
True. Amanda, we know we're going to have you back later in January, whenever the big comedy piece drops in
Yes.
STL Mag. For now, what do people need to go check out?
Yeah.
What's coming up? I'm sure I
Sure.
just pulled up your page, and again, I tweeted it out. You can see all of Amanda's specific work and articles. So if you always go to stlmag.com, you can see all that. But what do we need to look forward to?
Right now we're kind of we're working on our February issue. January should have just hit the stands.
Okay.
We've got some great. The big feature in that one is we went around to very influential St. Louisans to talk about how they get things done. So sort of like a New Year's resolution.
Oh,
but like
nice.
a little bit updated. So I think that's like a great read. We're on the website right now. We're wrapping up a lot of our like best of 2019 stories. So that's a really, if readers aren't familiar with us, that's kind of a great way to dip your toe in and see the types of things that we cover.
Nice.
February should be coming out really soon, and like we said, that has the big comedy piece in it. So readers can look forward to that.
I'm
the end of the year.
selfishly not looking forward to. They took some photos of me with Yale, and I'm literally just like, I didn't look at any of those, and I know
great
I'm
hair,
gonna hate whatever one they pick.
I
I'm
have
just
seen them. The art for that story is amazing.
Okay, then I need to give the photographer some credit then because
He did a great job.
Yeah.
He's really good at Photoshop.
So we tweeted this out, and Sarah, I tagged Sarah saying that you got her start, and she says, "Can't wait to listen. Amanda makes me proud every day."
She's the best. Love her.
She is. She's very talented. We'll have to get her in the new year, Gardner. Why don't you book somebody for once, huh?
No, we could try.
So Sarah's actually one of the people who we interviewed to find out how she
Get things
makes
done.
it all happen.
That's great.
And
Pretty
yeah,
crazy
shits
to
them.
go from what she print to never doing broadcasting. Like it's not easy. Like there's a case, and especially in that format, you have people that expect it done a certain way, and she's done a great job.
She got a big
Yeah.
scoop last Friday too.
She
She got
really
a huge
did.
scoop.
Amazing.
Yes.
I have applied to the NPR station in Chicago no less than 15 times to try to work there as an on-air person.
Really?
Yeah, and I have never even
perfect
got an
for 'em.
interview because I don't have I wrote for Consequence of Sound for 8-9 years, but it was like
Yeah.
I don't really have like journalistic.
It's the one
training
time a
necessarily. It's
radio
like-
personality could look down at a trained actor and be like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they're
And
just
it's like,
holding
and they
that.
justifiably can because I'm like, I'm not really a journalist. It's like, I've got my like byline in these couple of places, but it doesn't mean that I like really
Yeah.
know what I'm doing. I'm like, just let me talk on the microphone. Let me host stuff. Other people can talk, and I'll just sit here.
I think that's the way to be. Travis, anything else?
God bless everyone.
Wow, what a
Look, this is
positive
great
show
way to
today.
end the
Nailed
holiday,
it,
right?
Tiny
Right?
Tim.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, guys.
Tweeted him out, but follow Nick on Twitter at Gary Dinklage. I've tweeted his video out. You can see all that stuff. And if you're in Chicago, if you follow him online, you're in a play all the time.
I actually am forcing myself to take a break. The next show doesn't start rehearsals until middle of March.
Okay.
I had a March to October run this year that would nearly
So
killed
much,
me.
yeah.
So I was like, maybe
gotta
I would like
decompress.
to be home and be around my dog and girlfriend for a little while instead of only seeing them when they're asleep.
And you can follow Amanda at Amanda Woitis on Twitter, and we've tweeted that out. For Gardner, Amanda, Nick Freed, Travis Shrell, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. We'll see you live at 8 a.m. Friday morning.
Peace, Anna.
Merry Christmas!
Happy Sol Invictus.
Oh, here you go. God.
Boo.